They mocked Jang Hyun's ant skill as useless. His enemies expected one stomp to erase everything. 3 days later, the Silver Queen answered them. Her swarm devoured every mutated beast in sight. Each corpse became food for the next evolution. Each evolution multiplied Jang Hyun's army again, while other chiefs lost soldiers. He manufactured monsters. Then 3 disasters attacked his empire at once. An orange instance had swallowed multiple islands and now drifted toward his territory like a living disaster. At the same time, an unknown enemy crossed hours of ocean instantly and attacked one of Jang Hyun's closest allies. He could not reinforce her because his main army remained trapped inside the instance core. Then, sentry ants discovered something worse approaching from a second island, a walking mountain made from corpses. The creature carried poison, countless dead faces, and upper platinum rank energy, enough to terrify almost any surviving chief. Jang Hyun divided the swarm, gathered intelligence, and prepared 3 separate executions instead of retreating. Every ant served as his eyes, his hands, and another piece of his battlefield mind. Swift Shadow commanded the front line, while sentry ants vanished into mist and mapped the enemy's body. Hover ants carried troops, hunter ants held the ground, and self-destruct ants waited like living bombs. The mocked skill had to become reconnaissance, artillery, healing, transportation, logistics, and total territorial warfare. Beneath that system stood the Silver Queen, producing stronger descendants whenever the colony survived another slaughter. One mistake would erase his underground city, while one victory could push the entire colony beyond platinum rank. Then the instance shook. The mutual contract reconnected, and Swift Shadow reported that the core leader was finally dead. Seongha shook her head with a faint smile and answered that to be safe, they should still use the prepared line to bleed the enemy's strength as much as they could. They would stall until Jang Hyun finished conquering the instance, then unite with him to put him down. And that was the steadiest road, but she added that they should stay flexible. 2. That if the enemy proved not so strong, joining forces to end him outright was not off the table. Will nodded, his face serious, and told Seongha that this was her home ground, and that from here on she would command the battle. Byeon quickly agreed, saying that with me away, she was the sharpest of them, and then caught himself and clarified that 9 was sharp. 2. Only she bent her mind toward research more than the field. While Seongha was the better commander, Seongha glanced at them and nodded softly, saying she would send him a message about the situation here, and that next they would go to meet the enemy first. She took out her manual and wrote to him that the enemy had used some unknown method to reach her Black Island ahead of time, that Jang Hyun should handle his own matters first, with no need to rush, and that the few of them could hold him. Jang Hyun was just about to dig into why the monster density had fallen when his manual gives its little chime, the special tone that sounds only for messages from his teammates. Jang Hyun stops at once and read it, and his gaze narrows, skipping over 2 hours of travel and arriving in an instant. What kind of method is that? It seems this unknown enemy either has the power to warp the map or the power to leap a set distance in one step, and whichever it is, the effect is abnormal enough that the man's own strength cannot be weak in the least. Seongha and the others are in trouble. Jang Hyun frowns, urgency rising in him, wanting to fly to them this second. But the situation in front of him makes leaving no simple thing. Jang Hyun can only write back that Jang Hyun understands that Jang Hyun will settle matters here as fast as Jang Hyun can and rush. Over the moment, Jang Hyun does. They should try to pin the enemy in place without fighting him to the death, because if he holds some special trick, then even a win might cost more than it is worth. Jang Hyun sets the manual down. Jang Hyun needs to move faster. Jang Hyun cannot reach into the instance course fight. But Jang Hyun can scout the outside situation ahead of time and lay groundwork for the battle coming next. That other Black Island, in contact with the Orange Instance, whose lord has the power to counter the Orange Instance, will not bow to him easily. So, Jang Hyun will feel out his strength first, and when Swift Shadow and the others come back from killing the leader, Jang Hyun will take him down in one clean stroke without another word. Jang Hyun uses the species contract to send a squad of sentry, ants still in the territory aboard the hover ants, and under his watch. They fly off toward the Black Island in the other direction. The Orange Instance Island, dragged in several directions at once, no longer holds the tight defenses it began with, and the hover ant carrying the sentry ants meets few attacks in the air. The scattered monsters that do strike do little against a hover ant with every attribute point poured into defense. It does not even bother with them, treating the blows like a full-body massage and flying on. Soon the hover ant spots, about a kilometer ahead, in a spot veiled by orange mist, monsters being flung about by something it cannot make out. It reports to him that the target is found, but that its shape is hidden in the mist and cannot be seen clearly. Jang Hyun thinks a moment and tell it not to spook the enemy, to drop the sentry ants early, then hold its own position and wait on his orders. Ready to gather the sentry ants back up and bring them home, it answers that it will and opens its abdomen. The passenger sentry ants leap from several hundred meters up without hesitation, and being small and light, and carrying nothing to slow or float them, they drift down like leaves and settle safely to the ground. Even before landing, they shift their camouflage and vanish. And on the ground, they melt into the trees and brush almost without a trace, striking out for the target a kilometer off. At their swift crawl, it takes only a minute to close on the battle's front line, and under the sentry ant's sharp reconnaissance, the thing beating back the orange instances monsters finally shows its true form. A sentry ant reports the moment it lays eyes on the enemy that the target is found. Jang Hyun sits up a little and tell it to describe the thing's form and its energy intensity in detail. It answers that it will. As an ant, it carries none of the human dread of grotesque warped creations, so even the aggregated monster's hideous abstract shape has no effect on it, and its tone stays as flat as ever. Reporting like a seasoned coroner, it tells him the target stands roughly 36 meters tall, bloated all over, built from countless human corpses, monster corpses, and assorted debris. The bodies making it up still have limbs and features that twitch as if they hold some scrap of vitality, though they are near completely rotted and are surely dead without a shred of intelligence. Its head is made of hundreds of human heads, and when the eyes across those heads fix on a mutated beast, the beast's body locks up, which points to mental attack capability. And the reeking odor pouring off its body points to some capacity for poison gas attack by the sentry ant's calculations. The target's energy intensity has reached the upper level of platinum rank. Its danger extreme, though it appears to be in an unconscious, mindless state, which shaves the difficulty of killing it down a touch. As the sentry ant talks on, his brows knit deeper and deeper until they crush into a stack of vertical furrows. Jang Hyun has not laid eyes on the thing himself, but from the report alone, Jang Hyun can tell what kind of monster it is. A thing built of countless corpses, a little like the aggregated monster out of a zombie film, 36 meters tall. And Jang Hyun cannot even guess how many corpses had to be crammed together to reach a build that absurd. His mood sinks heavy. Jang Hyun had honestly thought there were powerful survivors on that far Black Island, and who could have guessed it was this, a monster terrifying and bizarre and revolting all at once. Jang Hyun wonders whether every survivor on that Black Island died and somehow birthed this thing, or whether someone with a purpose slaughtered countless humans on purpose to build it. Then Jang Hyun shakes his head because the reason behind it means nothing to the situation in front of him. All Jang Hyun can do now is put the aggregated monster down. But turning over its strength as a sentry ant, Jang Hyun frowns again because this is genuinely thorny. The thing has no intelligence and fights purely on instinct, and yet it carries upper platinum rank power, which is very nearly the ceiling at the current stage. His main force is still fighting in the instance core space and has already taken serious losses. So even after Jang Hyun kills the instance leader and pull them out, killing this aggregated monster will be hard and will likely cost him a great many troops. On top of that, Seong Ha's side is under attack, and Jang Hyun has a bad feeling. The enemies, there will be a real problem. So, once Jang Hyun closes this out, Jang Hyun has to rush to her. After several straight major battles, will Jang Hyun even have the strength left to reinforce her? The truth is, Jang Hyun feared neither the corpse giant nor the enemy attacking Seong Ha's island. The true problem was that the orange instance, the unknown attacker, and this monster had arrived together. After several major battles, even his enormous colony was running low on healthy troops and strategic reserves. This was the hardest moment since he entered the Dark World, but surviving it would transform his empire completely. But earn a stretch of steady, rapid growth, fail it, and everything is gone. The foundation, Jang Hyun ground out by hand in the dark. World handed over to someone else. Jang Hyun lets out a slow, stale breath, his gaze hardening. They will not break him with this much. Jang Hyun thinks, and even at the price of mutual ruin, Jang Hyun will never yield. Right then, the entire orange instance core shudders violently, and the core space shatters. Countless ants come pouring out of the ruptured space, and in that instant, his link with Swift Shadow snaps back into place. Feeling the mutual aid contract go taut with her again, Jang Hyun nearly speaks first out of relief, but she beats him to it, reporting in a low voice that the orange instance's core leader has been killed. Then she begins to blame herself, saying her poor command cost him countless warriors. Jang Hyun cut her off before she can finish and tell her no, that she did very well, that this orange instance had already devoured 3 black islands and stood one step from becoming a yellow instance. So, its core leader must have been fearsome indeed. Jang Hyun tells her there are 2 more brutal fights ahead that will need her command. So, she is to steady herself, hand him the spoils of this instance, and get ready for battle. She answers that she will, at once ordering the ant army home and sending the wounded to the healing ant for treatment, then coming before him to lay out what the expedition brought back. She reports that besides the corpse of the instance leader, whose strength reached upper platinum, and the corpses of the other gold-ranked monsters, they secured an orange instance treasure chest, and that there was one gain nobody expected. Jang Hyun takes the chest, and at the mention of an unexpected gain, Jang Hyun looks at her puzzled and asks what she means. She draws a clear glass bottle from a small cloth bag slung behind her, and inside, it is a fat, plump grub like an overgrown beanworm wriggling non-stop and shoving itself against the mouth of the bottle as if desperate to escape. This is the unexpected gain. Jang Hyun frowns, thrown that she has produced a big worm, reading his face. She quickly explains that she found it after commanding the warriors to kill the core leader and that it crawled out of the leader's ear. By her detection, it holds extremely high mental attributes, and though it has no fighting ability of its own, it is platinum rank. She suspects the worm is tied closely to the instance's ability to move. His gaze sharpens, and Jang Hyun no longer dare to look down on the unremarkable white grub. Golden light flares in his right eye as Jang Hyun turns it on the bottle, and a heartbeat later, the thing's information lays itself out before him. A worm named for the brain. The label unsettles him on its own. Jang Hyun frowns and studies it. The panel tells him it is a brain worm of platinum rank, that its abilities are parasitism and mind control, and that it is a creature extremely weak in body and extremely strong in mind, evolved wholly towards mental power and holding a certain level of intelligence. The information is thin, but it is enough to give him a first read on the thing. Swift Shadow said she found the brain worm in the core leader's brain. So it must have parasitized the leader and then driven him like a puppet, a creature that poured its entire evolution into the mind, truly an extreme parasitism. mind control, and a measure of intelligence on top of that. And it becomes very likely that this instance's power to move came from the brainworm meddling at the wheel. Jang Hyun furrows his brow. The only reason Jang Hyun managed to kill the brainworm-controlled leader this time is that the instance had not yet had time to devour too much of the Black Island's evolution. Had it gathered momentum and surged up into a yellow instance, even Jang Hyun would have had no choice but to run. And that alone shows how terrifying the brainworm is. Jang Hyun remembers beyond saying. There are quite a few mobile instances across the whole dark world. What if every one of them has a brainworm sitting behind it? If intelligent things like this seize control of high-level instance islands, it would be a catastrophe for every human in the dark world. And this brainworm strikes him as unusual, not like an ordinary mutated beast at all, more like Chonga's world tree, seemingly a species all its own. And Jang Hyun cannot help wondering where it came from. His brows draw tight, the whole matter growing more troublesome the longer Jang Hyun holds it. But the mobile instance beside his Black Island is already conquered and settled, so there is no fire under him at the moment. And as for the long-term worry, Jang Hyun has too many urgent things waiting to sit and stew over it. With the orange instance taken, his Black Island has already begun to swallow the whole orange instance island. The monsters that were not finished off are now, just as before, herded into a single sealed patch on his Black Island. And with those monsters no longer clogging its path, the aggregated monster, which the obstruction had been slowing, is now striding for his Black Island. About to reach the ant defense line, Jang Hyun sets at the border. To hold off the orange instances, monsters, Jang Hyun has no time to think it over and give the order at once, telling Swift Shadow Chasu to have her people hand this brainworm over to Wang Han to pass him the full information on it and to warn him not to overdo things. She agrees quickly and sends a sentry ant off with the glass bottle. Then Jang Hyun draws a deep breath, his gaze sharpening, and asks in a low voice how much fighting strength they still have. Swift Shadow reports that every wounded ant has been carried back to the ant nest for treatment. What Jang Hyun has left able to fight, she says, comes to 53 platinum-ranked Black Scythe hunter ants, 131 platinum-ranked sentry ants, 11 platinum-ranked tunneling ants, and 15 platinum-ranked self-destruct ant remaining. Below them stand 1,321 gold-ranked Black Scythe ants, 3,561 sentry ants, 135 tunneling ants, 142 hover ants, and 581 self-destruct ants. The losses run that deep, his brows crushed together. Many of the wounded are still in treatment and will come back to full strength once healed. But even so, what this fight took far outran what Jang Hyun braced for at the start. His platinum-ranked Black Scythe hunter ants numbered close to 100, and now nearly half are casualties. The other ants lost run past counting. Brutal. Jang Hyun never watched Swift Shadow command the army inside the core space against the brainworm-driven horde, but a single glance at the tally is enough to show how vicious the brainworm was to handle. Since things have come this far, all Jang Hyun can do is push through, hearing heavy footfalls in the distance. Jang Hyun locks his mind onto the aggregated monster closing in below and say coldly for Swift Shadow to form ranks and move out to intercept. She answers and at once marshals the healthy army into formation, driving them toward the battle's front line, toward the aggregated monster, out on the front line. Once Jang Hyun broke the brainworm and his Black Island began devouring the orange instance island in earnest, that other Black Island, the birthplace of the aggregated monster, gradually ran contiguous with his, curled on a great tree there, an alloy guitar on his back, and only his upper body left to him, sat a pale figure watching everything below. And it was exactly the punk youth who had cut off his own legs to live. His life force was strangely stubborn. He had lost both legs and still crawled that whole distance. His misfortune was that before he could catch a breath, a major battle was about to break open in this very area again. The punk youth looked exhausted and shaken as he watched the orange instance island get swallowed piece by piece into his black island. He cursed, asking what was going on, how an island that had been breathing orange mist a moment ago could be eaten by this late-comer of a black island. He was a new black island chief and did not know the rule that a black island could devour an instance island after conquering it. But a man does not need to have eaten pork to have watched pigs run, and the punk youth was no fool. He had seen the orange instance island devour black islands. A faint suspicion took him that the latecomer chief had shattered the orange island outright. And it had to be that because nothing else could explain the whole thing being swallowed into his black island. He marveled that it was monstrous. That one would have to be terrifyingly strong to resolve and annex an orange island built out of monsters. Then his shock gave way to wild joy. He crowed that if this chief were that strong, beating the aggregated monster would be no trouble, and that he was saved. Once the man fought the aggregated monster, he schemed if he won it easily, the punk youth would surrender on the spot, and if he won it hard, there might even be a chance to snatch some of the spoils. His eyes lit like powerful flashlights, his face flushing as he fixed on the front line, urging the battle to start, to hurry and start. As the two black islands ran together, the aggregated monster stepped officially onto his black island, and the moment it did, it paused. Then, as if it had caught the scent of living flesh, it ignored the ants in front of it and turned toward his underground city. It walked faster and faster, then bent its knees high, turned the walk into a run, and came charging, the aggregated monster, built from corpses, swung its arms and lolled its head and ran, with a crooked twisting body along a crooked twisting path, nearly toppling several times, but it never actually fell. Instead, with that strange gait and the forward pitch of its own weight carrying it, its speed was startling. In a few short seconds, it covered several hundred meters, watching the thing suddenly go wild and frenzied and gleeful. His gaze sharpens, and Jang Hyun gives the order to stop it. Almost the instant the word leaves him, the ant army moves under Swift Shadow's command. The 50 hover ants, fitted with compressed energy cannons, had already begun stacking charge before they even set off, and the moment the order lands, all 50 charged cannons roar together. 50 scorching white orbs of compressed energy streak like lightning toward the onrushing aggregated monster. Because of the monster's odd lurching run, many of the orbs miss its body outright, but with 50 cannons in play, Swift Shadow did not aim them all straight at the thing. She read out its possible routes and wove a net of energy orbs that sealed off every path it could take, however awkward its motion. It still eats dozens of the orbs head-on. Its body burst open at once, arms and thighs and shoulders and chest and gut all cratering, corpse debris blasting loose and scattering everywhere. Smoke swallows the whole thing, so it cannot be clearly seen, and its forward rush stalls, keeping it from bursting straight out of the cloud. The punk youth watching from his tree could not keep his face together, his eyes near popping, his expression pure disbelief. He had already known the chief, who cleared an orange instance, was strong, but he had never dreamed the man was this strong. In a single exchange, she had dealt with the aggregated monster that had frightened the punk youth into fleeing. He asked himself honestly whether he could bear the fury of those cannon blasts, and answered that not 50 of them, not even a handful, was something he could take. A ruthless man, absolutely ruthless, and one he could not possibly resist. So he resolved to play pitiful and surrender clean. The punk survivor abandoned every remaining scheme, awed by the power surrounding Jang Hyun's territory. Jang Hyun remained cautious, staring into the thinning smoke instead of assuming one cannon volley had ended everything. Nobody understood compressed energy shells better than he did, and the damage looked far too shallow for a confirmed kill. A strong breeze cleared the smoke, revealing that fresh corpses had already surged outward to repair the monster's wounds. The smoke covering this monster scatters fast and lays its body bare again. The punk youth halfway down the trunk took one look, cursed, and scrambled straight back up, clutching the tree with both hands. His own face settles into the look of a suspicion confirmed. The several parts of the aggregated monster that the cannons had blown open are now completely repacked with corpses, as if it had never been touched. Through those changes, Jang Hyun reads its secret. Though it looks only 36 meters tall and seems built of nothing but these corpses, its body is in fact countless corpses compressed to the extreme, packed at a monstrous density. The cannons just now did not fail to hurt it. They only stripped away one surface layer of corpses, which the corpses within immediately surged out to replace and repair. Jang Hyun frowned deeply, feeling how thorny this has become. His main ants and his strategic stockpiles both took heavy losses and heavy use inside the core base, and the compressed energy cannons are all but spent, that last volley having burned the very last of the reserves. Even a high-intensity method like the cannons only peels one layer off the thing, and from that alone, you can imagine how thick its health runs and how hard it will be to kill to truly finish this aggregated monster. Jang Hyun has no idea what it will take. If the cannons only manage this much, Jang Hyun wonders what the Black Scythe hunter ants can do striking it directly, and Jang Hyun tells Swift Shadow to send them in. She answers, and seeing the monster find its footing and ready another charge, Jang Hyun gives the order to switch to the Black Scythe hunting ants. There is no other road. The cannons are dry, so Jang Hyun can only try their physical attacks. At his command, 53 platinum-ranked Black Scythe hunter ants take the lead. The remaining 1,321 gold-ranked Black Scythe ants pouring after them, all charging the monster. Black Scythe hunting ants are not ants in the ordinary sense. Each is 3 to 5 meters long, and for all that they are called ants. They are terrifying, ferocious giant beasts. But a huge frame is not all upside, since it eats space, and though there are so many of them, they cannot all bite the monster at once. Just 21 platinum rank hunter ants already crowd the ground around it, leaving the rest to jostle behind and watch. Jang Hyun clenches his fists and stare at the front line, watching the 21 platinum rank hunter ants battle the aggregated monster. They live up to their platinum rank, showing no fear before the thing, their scythe mandibles gaping to nearly 180, each bite tearing away a great chunk of flesh. But before Jang Hyun could be glad, a scene Jang Hyun struggles to accept unfolds in front of him. Every bite rips loose a mass of corpse debris. Yet, not only do fresh corpses keep welling up from within to replace it, the monster's body also begins oozing a yellow-green pus that coats it all over. Under that pus, the hunter ant's bites slide like teeth on a loach, unable to find purchase, missing again and again, their efficiency gutted. Worse, the hunter ants seem tainted by the pus, their speed and their strength both falling off sharply. The platinum rank hunter ants are strong, very strong, but as pure physical attackers, they are hard countered by this monster. The push drips down off the thing and onto the ground, and where it lands, it corrodes the plants to death on contact. If this aggregated monster were left to wander his black island, it would need to do nothing else to leave the whole place a barren waste. Damn it! This is genuinely troublesome. Jang Hyun clenches his fists until the veins stand, because the monster's raw fighting power is only average, but its talent for revoling you is first-rate, given time. Jang Hyun could grind it down at his leisure, but there has been no word from Seong-ha, and Jang Hyun is worried sick over how his teammates are faring against the suspected alliance of God's member. So, Jang Hyun has no time to sit and toy with this thing. Think of a way. Jang Hyun tells himself. Jang Hyun needs to think of a way fast. A way to kill this disgusting thing quickly. A pack of platinum rank hunter ants keeps tearing at the aggregated monster, but they can only whittle it down slowly. The situation has steadied, and for now, the monster has no strength to spare for pushing toward his underground city. But letting it drag on like this is no answer. Jang Hyun frowns, turning it over. Compared with physical blows, this thing is plainly more afraid of energy attacks. And with the compressed energy cannons drained, only the self-destruct ants can lay enough damage on it. But the platinum rank self-destruct ants were all spent in the instance core, leaving only the 500-odd gold-ranked ones. And Jang Hyun does not know whether they can blow the monster to death, though even crippling it badly would be worth it. The truth is, Jang Hyun did not want to spend all these self-destructs at once. Jang Hyun meant to save some against a rainy day. But it is better to clear the hurdle in front of him first. And Jang Hyun cannot dither half his mind stuck on Chona's battle. She and her team have their fight, Jang Hyun tells himself, and Jang Hyun has his. And Jang Hyun has to trust his teammates and what they can do. Jang Hyun draws a deep breath, his gaze firm, and decide to hold nothing back. Jang Hyun orders the self-destruct ants split into 6 groups, borne up by hover ants, suspended over the aggregated monster's head, and dropped in sequence with the black scythe hunter ants ready to pull back at any moment. At the order, the ants spring into motion, and soon 6 hover ants, each carrying dozens of gold, rank, self-destruct ants, hang above the monster's head. The first hover ant's abdomen opens on command, and a dense rain of fiery basketball-sized self-destruct ants pours down. Right then, the monster seems to sense the threat. Its head of countless skulls tilts up, its myriad eyes finding the falling ants, and it makes to flee. But the platinum rank hunter ants have it pinned so hard it cannot budge an inch. The self-destruct ants land and cling to it as though glued, and no matter how it thrashes, nearly shaking the very corpse material off its frame, it cannot dislodge them. Seeing them in place, Jang Hyun orders the hunter ants to withdraw, and then Jang Hyun gives the word to blow. A long rolling chain of explosions erupts. The aggregated monster staggers corpse fragments, flinging visibly off it, and in sheer, destructive force, it matches or even beats the 50 compressed energy cannons. But for a 36 meters thing, bloated and stuffed with who knows how many corpses, these wounds are not enough. Jang Hyun does not hesitate a beat and order the next group in. The monster, pockmarked and spitting green fluid, stays in place, trying to recover rather than running. So the hunter ants no longer need to hold it down. Another group lands and another chain of blasts tears through it, and Jang Hyun keeps calling the groups forward. Jang Hyun gives order after order, his brows sinking deeper as Jang Hyun watches the pockmarked but stubbornly upright monster refuse to fall. 5 whole groups, more than 400 gold-ranked, self-destruct ants detonated. And still, the disgusting thing is not dead. If the brainworm was an upper-tier platinum entity that dumped everything into spiritual power, then this aggregated monster is one that poured every attribute point into physique. Its strength also sitting at roughly upper platinum, genuinely troublesome, leaning on gold rank, self-destruct ants alone. Jang Hyun may truly be unable to wipe it out in one push. Jang Hyun sends the last group in. 2. It lands and drives the monster's injuries up another notch, even blowing one of its arms clean off. But before Jang Hyun can breathe easy, it squeezes out a fresh mass of corpses shaped into an arm, and with the pus binding them, restores itself as though it had never weathered 6 rounds of bombardment. The punk youth, watching from the shadows, went limp with despair, cursing that this ruthless man was so fierce and still could do nothing to the monster, wailing that these were monsters he could not fathom, and that this time he was truly finished. Unlike his gloom, Jang Hyun rubs his chin and keeps studying the aggregated monster's body. And Jang Hyun catches what feels like a thread, a long, absent smile touching his face. Though the monster carries both corpses and odds and ends, it is ruled overwhelmingly by corpses, And those corpses are chiefly human, with some other mutated beast corpses mixed in at far smaller numbers. And human corpses are not endless. The aggregated monster came from a black island to begin with, and the most humans a black island can hold at the very extreme is 10,000. And many of those had already died and vanished across these many days of survival. 7,000 corpses on its frame would already be a lot. And after all the rounds of bombardment and grinding Jang Hyun has put it through, it has surely burned at least 4 or 5,000 of its reserve corpses, not far from running dry. Seeing the light of victory, Jang Hyun cannot help a rush of eagerness, and Jang Hyun even order the hunter ants to press on and keep bleeding the monster's corpse reserves. Unfortunately, every self-destruct ant is spent. So Jang Hyun no longer have enough energy type attacks, and even a pack of platinum rank hunter ants deals far less to the thing than the gold ranked self-destruct ants did. Jang Hyun watches the hunter ants tearing at it and frown. What other energy attacks do Jang Hyun has Mayu Chong and her team? Jang Hyun doubts would count for much. In a platinum rank fight like this, direct intervention from Jang Hyun's human allies would contribute little against an upper platinum monster built for endurance. Its rotten stench and yellow-green pus were also highly toxic, making close combat dangerous for ordinary fighters. Jang Hyun realized the hunter ants could eventually grind it down, but that slow solution would leave Seongha exposed. Then he remembered a weapon he had ignored for far too long, and a new killing method clicked into place. A half-body-length dragonbone bow appeared in his hand, glowing gold as he brushed the string and smiled. Jang Hyun thinks that Jang Hyun is an archer. 2. This long bow is precisely the dragonbone bow, an evolving weapon Jang Hyun picked up when Jang Hyun helped 9 finish her first mission by killing a gold-ranked monster. The dragonbone bow needs no separate arrows. Drawing it alone conjures a dragon chi arrow on the string, and its power is fearsome. The pity of it is that it can only climb by killing dragonkin creatures or absorbing dragonkin materials. And to this day, Jang Hyun has not so much as seen a sub-dragon species, let alone a true dragon type. So the dragonbone bow has stayed stuck at gold rank. As his ants surged in strength, Jang Hyun stopped fighting personally for a long stretch and let the bow sit, shelled in gathering dust. And only now, run into a corner, do Jang Hyun remembers his old friend. The aggregated monster is countered by energy and the dragon chi riding. The dragonbone bow's arrow is a high-order energy ranked above the base elemental energies of metal. Wood, water, fire, and earth perfectly suited to the moment. Jang Hyun smiles and strokes the bow, telling it Jang Hyun is sorry for neglecting it so long and asking whether it had grown impatient. Jang Hyun tells it that the key player always shows at the decisive moment that its moment is now and to come and let them fight to their heart's content, as if it feels his fighting spirit. The bow, still so long in his hand, seems to answer, its strings shivering out faint clear dragon roars. Jang Hyun laughs, glad of it, his blood surging, and Jang Hyun grips the bow in his left hand, spread his light wings behind him, and fly straight at the aggregated monster. Jang Hyun flies about 2,000 meters and stop, while Jang Hyun is still 800 to 900 meters from the monster. A thick reek of rot rolls off it and keeps him frowning, and rather than close the gap, Jang Hyun holds his place in the air. The effective range of a fully drawn gold-ranked dragonbone bow is 2,000 meters, but drawing it to full takes enormous strength. And though Jang Hyun can, it burns a great deal of stamina and is not quite worth it, even at a normal draw. The range still runs 100 to 500 meters, more than enough. So Jang Hyun will simply stay here. After a brief thought, Jang Hyun levels the dragonbone bow straight at the aggregated monster and raise it. Though Jang Hyun has not fought in person for a long time, only commanding ants, that does not make his own combat power weak. The reason Jang Hyun stopped acting personally is that in most fights, his ants settled things with ease, so there was no need for him to step in. And Jang Hyun is no combat maniac like Will, who craves a brawl. Jang Hyun believes in resolving a fight with the most efficiency while keeping himself safe. But now that it falls to him, Jang Hyun will not shy from it. And at this range, if the monster tries anything sudden, Jang Hyun can react in time. Soon, the dragon bone bow bends into a clean arc, a half-transparent, white dragon chi arrow condensing on the string, with his spiritual power in his sight. Jang Hyun locks instantly onto the monster 8 to 900 meters off, aiming dead at the eye-crusted head. And the moment Jang Hyun loosens, the dragon chi arrow streaks out without the least drift and detonates square on its head. Jang Hyun looks at once to the result, and under that single arrow, countless corpse-built heads are blasted away in an instant. Nearly a third of the heads that make up its head simply gone. One arrow. This was only one arrow, and the effect so plain, the power so immense. Before the self-destruct ants had concentrated their blasts on that head, and even dozens of gold-ranked, self-destruct ants going off together only tore away about a fifth of the corpse-built heads. Nothing beside the exaggerated damage of the dragon chi arrow. Even Jang Hyun is startled at what one arrow did. And Jang Hyun glanced down at the long bow in surprise. This power, Jang Hyun thinks. No matter how strong Jang Hyun is, Jang Hyun cannot possibly do more in a single strike than dozens of self-destruct ants exploding at once. The reason the effect is this. Stark cast a lie in the nature of that dragon chi arrow, whose energy runs at so high a level that it lands with this kind of force. Having reasoned it out, Jang Hyun cannot help a spark of excitement. And Jang Hyun looks down at the aggregated monster that has vexed him so long. You have held him up long enough. Jang Hyun thinks. Let him put you out of your misery. Jang Hyun keeps drawing and loosing arrow after arrow in a fast, unbroken stream, showering the monster's body from every side and blasting it into disarray. Jang Hyun also noticed that the dragon chi on the arrows carries a suppressing effect, the monster's repair speed dragging under its weight. While Jang Hyun rains dragon arrows down, the black scythe hunting ants are not idle either, still ringing the monster and biting away chunks of corpse material. Even a small mosquito carries some meat, and the steady stacking damage from more than 30 platinum rank hunter ants is considerable in its own right. Bit by bit, with the hunter ant's bites and his dragon chi, arrows layering together, the monster's recovery falls far behind the damage pouring into it. The punk youth, watching from the shadows, finally sees a glimmer of hope, joy returning to his face. Good, they can win, he thinks, and it is good that they can. If the aggregated monster won, then however slippery the punk youth was, he would end up stuffed inside it. But if Jang Hyun won, it was another matter. Because however strong a human was, he was still human, and the punk youth would always find some crack to survive through. He crows to himself that heaven truly never seal every exit, that he is saved, though plenty of corpse material still sits inside the aggregated monster. It simply has no time to repair its wounds slowly, and however monstrous it is still flesh and blood, and still bound to basic principle. At last, it reaches the limit its body can bear. With no warning at all, the aggregated monster explodes on the spot, loosing an earth-shaking blast. And the near 1,000 corpses inside it that it never got to spend on repairs are in that instant flung out like cannon shot, blackening the sky and hurling in every direction. The black scythe hunting ants ringing it are blown clear away by the sheer force. Not good. Seeing several corpses oozing yellow-green pus come flying at him, Jang Hyun snaps his light wings open and dodges sharply aside. And just as Jang Hyun sweeps clear, a strong pulse of energy flashes past him, and following the sensation, Jang Hyun catches sight of a glowing orb, red light pouring off its whole surface, seemingly a piece of debris hurled out from inside the aggregated monster as it burst apart. His gaze narrows, his spiritual power locking hard onto that red orb as it streaks off into the distance. Through the mutual aid contract, Jang Hyun orders a sentry ant to chase it down and haul it back. And at the same time, Jang Hyun keeps backpedaling, weaving and ducking under the fragments of the aggregated monster's body that bursts loose and comes shooting his way. The monster's death throw comes fast and ends just as fast. As the last of the debris rains down and settles, the aggregated monster is finally completely dead. The blast itself is over. But the mess it leaves behind is only starting. Pus and rotted body parts spread across the ground like a flood, and everywhere the filth touches. It leaves a stench so foul that nothing green will ever grow there again. A poison smear covering several million square meters at the least, with the monster dead. Its old black island begins to merge slowly into his. His island was already no small thing before this. It had swallowed one black island plus one red instance, running it to 3 times the size of an initial black island. And then it devoured that orange mobile instance, which had itself eaten 3 black islands. Counting the one the punk youth had ruled, after all that, his island had grown to 6 times its original size, and now folding in the aggregated monster's home island on top. It reaches a terrifying 7 times its initial scale, a full 70,000 square kilometers of ground, answering to him. By that math, a smear of poisoned land only a few million square meters wide should be a single drop in his ocean. The trouble is where the drop landed. All that corrosion sits right up against his underground city, and the reek off it is no better than a landfill or an open sewer, which turns his stomach every time the wind shifts. Jang Hyun cannot exactly tear down the underground city Jang Hyun bled to build over a bad smell. So Jang Hyun stands there frowning at the rotted ground, then take out his communication ant and reach Tak Mongyel and Wang Han each in turn. Jang Hyun tells Tak Nongyo, the surface soil has been fouled, and to have someone gather clean samples and send them along to Wang Han. Then Jang Hyun tells Wang Han that the samples are coming and to work out the most efficient way to purify this muck. Orders given. Jang Hyun sends Xiong Ha a transfer request through his manual, asking how things stand on her end and telling her Jang Hyun is finished here. While the request travels, Jang Hyun runs a quick tally of his forces and gather them, ready to jump to Chioa's Black Island and lend a hand, killing the aggregated monster. It turns out, cost him nothing but his self-destruct ants, every last one spent. Not a single other ant fell. The monster's final blast really did little more than fling its own corpse parts across the field. The force was not small, but the ants nearest it were all platinum-ranked, black scythe hunter ants, thick-hided and thick-fleshed. So they took only a jolt and a shallow bruise, nothing even worth a healing ant's touch. By now, their own recovery has already carried them back to peak condition. On top of that, while Jang Hyun was busy with the aggregated monster, plenty of the ants hurt earlier inside the orange instance core. The ones whose wounds were never that grave have healed up well. 21 platinum-ranked, black scythe hunter ants have come back to full strength, and many others besides. That brings him to 74 platinum-ranked, black scythe hunter ants at full fighting fitness, a real jump from where Jang Hyun sat before the monster fight. And it puts a good deal of confidence under him for whatever comes next. Not long after Jang Hyun finishes counting, Xiong Ha approves the transfer, and a message rides in right behind it. She writes that they wrapped up a while ago and simply had not found a moment to tell him that everything is fine on her side, and that no combat support is needed. Reading it, Jang Hyun lets a breath ease out of him, his whole body loosening, a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. Jang Hyun really thought Jang Hyun might get to play the hero for once. And here it turns out nobody needs saving. Then again, Will and the other 3 are all standing over there, and the enemy is one lone man. Even if he came out of that mysterious alliance of gods Beyond keeps warning them about, he does not sound so frightening. No, it is not that the enemy is weak. It is that everyone in their little crew happens to be just as strong as he is. Even so, Jang Hyun steps onto the teleportation array bound for Seongha's side because Jang Hyun still wants to see the situation with his own eyes. Not long after Jang Hyun leaves, on a distant tree where he has been crouched for ages, the punk youth finally climbs down. He crowed to himself that this was his chance, that Jang Hyun had finally cleared out, and that he needed a smarter way to worm into that man's territory. His first idea had been to lie low on the island, wait for Jang Hyun's subjects to come out clearing land and blend in among them. Then it struck him that all those subjects were surely vassals sworn to the chief, and he was not. And worse, his own appearance was far too striking to slip past unnoticed. So after chewing it over, he settled on a different plan to pass himself off as a casualty of the recent battle and crawl in that way. He was no longer a lord anyway, so there was no identity left to expose. He turned to the pus and body parts strewn across the ground, screwed up his face, choked down his revulsion, and smeared the filth over himself. He retched, telling himself it was all necessary, that the moment he got inside, it would all be worth it. Then retched again and crawled off toward the crowd, cleaning the battlefield ahead. By now, there were already plenty of ants and subjects out of the underground city, working the field and following Wang Han's instructions. They were starting with the large body parts first. Two of them bickered over the reek as they worked. One wed that it stank unbearably, and the other snapped that the contribution reward on this job ran several times higher than the usual tasks, and that he had clawed to snatch it so he could shut up and haul. Mayu Chong stood in the thick of them, too, frowning against the stench, directing the subjects. She grided inwardly that it truly awful, then talked herself right back up, telling herself that if she just worked hard enough, one day her lord would open his heart to her. A small smile crept onto her face as she sank into the daydream and decided life had more hope in it than she thought. Right then, she noticed a humanoid shape caked in mud and missing everything below the waist, propping itself up on an alloy guitar and hopping toward her. It was the punk youth. He sized her up as he came, deciding she looked soft and pretty, and stood there directing without lifting a finger, which surely made her the chief's woman. Just a pretty face and easy enough to fool. Jang Hyun comes back to himself slowly and find that Jang Hyun is in Seongha's treehouse. Seongha, Will, Byeon, and Nine are all gathered around a table, cut from a single whole tree stump, sipping tea and resting. If not for how travel-worn they all look, no one would ever guess they had just come off a major battle. Byeon spots him first and greets him warmly, waving him over to sit, telling everyone with a grin that they only just finished and he is worn out and that he intends to freeload several pounds of Chongha's tea to put himself back together, as Jang Hyun takes his seat. Yeong-ha, right beside him, rolls her eyes at him and points out that he barely lifted a finger just now, that the ones who actually broke a sweat were Nine and Will, caught out. Byeon feels no shame at all and laughs it off. He protests that he was holding down the rear, that even if he did not swing much, he piled so much psychological pressure onto that beast, from the alliance of gods, that the thing could only muster 7/10 of its strength. And if he had not clamped down on its spirit body at the very end, he insists it would have slipped away, which was crucial. Shuoma only sigh and tells him, fine, he is amazing, with a helpless little smile. Their banter gives him a rough sketch of the fight already, and Jang Hyun asks with a smile what actually happened, how strong that enemy from the alliance of gods was, and whether he gave them any trouble. Xianga pours him a pot of tea and lays it out. She says the enemy was a wolf-headed man, not only monstrously strong in the body, but able to summon a whole pack of wolves to fight alongside him. Extremely powerful. His own strength ran to about the middle of platinum rank, she tells him, and paired with over 1,000 gold rank wolves that coordinated their attacks with real skill. Any one of them alone would likely not have been his match, but they had 4. Any 2 of them together could put him down steadily, and all 4 at once could crush him flat, giving him no room to make trouble. She walks him through it. 9 and her mech burned off a great chunk of his combat power first, and with her and beyond backing the play. Will, whose talent leans hard on suppressing beasts, took the lead and brought the wolf-headed man's gold-rank wolf pack under control. Then, with the rest of them supporting, Will moved in and cut the wolf-headed man down, and even his last escape trick was countered by one of Beyond's items, his soul snatched and locked away. So, that was how it went, with Xiongha's account. The whole picture falls into place for him at once. That wolf-headed man was honestly unlucky. For all his terrifying strength, his methods were a single note, and facing Xiongha's 4, he was simply overwhelmed. That is the plain advantage of numbers. A crew bound by a mutual aid contract is without question the most formidable combination anyone can field in the dark world right now. Once Jang Hyun has the shape of their fight, Jang Hyun fills them in on his own recent adventures. Mostly the brainworm Jang Hyun turned up and the aggregated monster. As they listen, every face goes grave. None of them had expected his end of things to run so complicated. Beyond asks why on earth Jang Hyun did not mention how dicey his situation was earlier. Jang Hyun shakes his head with a smile and tell him it was not dangerous, only that the aggregated monster near the end was disgusting and troublesome. Then Jang Hyun turns to Beyond, since he is the well-read one, and asks whether he knows what that monster even is, how a thing like that is born. He shakes his head gently and admits this one falls squarely in his blind spot, but he promises to ask the elders of his clan once he is home and to pass along anything he learns the moment he has it. Good, Jang Hyun tells him with a nod and leave it in his hands. Chang Ha speaks up then, saying that Jang Hyun mentioned a large stretch of his territory had been fouled and corroded. She happens to have a kind of carrion eating plant. She tells him, one that devours rot and purifies the soil while being a richly nutritious plant in its own right. It might be a bit off-putting for a human to eat, she admits, but it is perfectly fine feed for livestock and ants. As she says it, she digs through her waist pouch, pulls out a fat bottle of black seeds, and hands them over. Hearing this, Jang Hyun cannot hide a flicker of surprise. That foul pollution was exactly the thing Jang Hyun wanted, gone in a hurry. And though Jang Hyun trusts Wang Han's research to eventually crack it, working a solution up from scratch would take time. Nowhere near as fast as Xiongha simply handing him one. Better still, her carrion eaters would turn the whole mess from garbage into resource. So, Jang Hyun quietly stumbles into a blessing wearing an ugly coat. Jang Hyun takes the seeds and thanks her more than once, telling her she has been an enormous help. Seeds in hand, Jang Hyun already thinks of excusing himself to go clear the territory and take stock of everything he hauled in from this trip, when Jang Hyun notices Xiongha frowning deeply as though something has just surfaced in her mind. The others glance at her, curious, and ask what is wrong. She stays quiet a few seconds, then lets out a slow breath and looks around at all of them. Her expression solemn. She tells them she just received a message from Little Green and that the brainworm Jang Hyun mentioned a moment ago woke some of Little Green's dormant memories. Little Green is Chang's world tree. It actually has an impression of the brainworm, and the brainworm stirred old memories loose in it. Jang Hyun cannot help frowning. The world tree is a species of very high rank, a race that may carry tens of thousands of years of inheritance for a thing to be recorded in the world tree's inherited memory. This brainworm is nowhere near as simple as Jang Hyun took it for. Xiongha goes on. She says Little Green calls the brainworm an extremely terrifying species with tremendous destructive power, a race handed down from ancient times, and that even Little Green itself, should it run into a powerful enough brainworm, risks being parasitized and controlled. That terrifying. A cold sweat prickles across his back. His thoughts fly straight to the brainworm Jang Hyun handed Wang Han. Could Wang Han end up parasitized by the thing Jang Hyun wants to bolt back home this instant? But Jang Hyun makes himself ask, first, how exactly a brainworm parasitizes, because Jang Hyun gave the captured one to Wang Han for study. And Jang Hyun needs to know whether there is any danger. Seeing him tense up, Xiong-ha quickly studies him, telling him nothing will happen and not to worry. The brainworm's methods of parasitizing are extremely strict. She explains, it can only take hold by entering the esophagus in egg form or by having a creature it already controls. Pin the target down so it can burrow into the brain. The third road is to break through to legendary, rank and above, and seize the target's mind directly before boring in. Those are the only three roads, by what Jang Hyun described. This brainworm is only platinum rank, so short of being set on the temple to parasitize by slow degrees, it simply lacks the strength to manage any of that on its own. That finally lets him breathe. Jang Hyun settles back into his seat, no longer in any rush to leave. Seeing him sit, Xiong-ha continues, her voice serious. Beyond that, she says, the news of the brainworm jogged loose some of Little Green's memories about the dark world itself. Scattered broken fragments, along with pieces tied to various races. Information about the dark world. His expression goes serious, and Jang Hyun sits up straight. Will and the others turn to Xiong-ha with sharp interest. 2. She looks around at them and says plainly that humans are not the only outsiders to the dark world. Her very first sentence rattles everyone. Beyond cannot help asking what she means by that. Whether besides humans, there are other races that were dragged across into the dark world. Exactly. Xiong-ha says, with a light nod, the human race is not the protagonist of this world. She tells them, not important enough for the dark world to treat them as anything special. They are only beings plucked at random by the dark world out of countless species. The same as the brainworms, the same as Little Green's own race, the world tree, all of them were once chosen races. And this choosing has run through countless rounds across the long history of the dark world. That is genuinely explosive news. And it sets everyone thinking. Will frowns and asks Xiong-ha low whether the other creatures face the same situation they do. Whether they too get selection mechanics like mutated beasts, the cold, and quests. Xiong-ha shakes her head gently. No, she says. Each race is quite different, and the dark world tailor a selection mechanism to fit each one. For humans, mutated beasts are a moderate threat, but for the early brainworms and for the world tree, even the weakest mutated beast is something they can barely stand against. They all nod along. It is true, the brainworms. For all that, their methods are bizarre and horrifying, are pitifully weak in their early days. Some squirrel-sized mutated beast could swallow one down like a fat grub, and that would run flat against the dark world's whole aim of forging. The strong and sething out superior races. Jang Hyun lowers his head, turning it over, and asks softly what became of these races in the end. Whether the world tree's inheritance, says. Chong-han nods and answers that Little Green's memories touch on it only briefly without much detail. Most of the earlier races are already gone, she says, with only a scattered few individuals lingering on various black islands across the dark world. And those survivors are extraordinarily rare, each one carrying some special means to fend off the corrosion of the black fog. Little Green, for instance, naturally forms a safe zone around itself that walls out the black fog. But the world tree is extremely hard to reproduce, and to this day, it is the only one ever found. The brainworms lean on parasitism to escape the black fog's erosion, and because of how they breed, their numbers run a little larger, though not by much, and most of the mutated beasts they have met, she adds, are descendants of intelligent races, ground down over ages by the black fog until their intelligence bled away, evolving across long generations into what they are now. Every face turns heavy at that. None of them had guessed the mutated beasts came from such an origin, descendants of thinking races now scoured clean of every trace of intelligent life. If their human race ultimately fails the dark world selection, then perhaps they end up the same as those beasts. Beyond chewing on the thought, suddenly blurts that he has never once heard of an ape or monkey mutated beast in the dark world. Then his eyes go wide, as he cries that maybe the dark world hauled humans, and precisely to fill the empty ape-shaped slot in its bestiary. Everyone stares at him speechless. Seong-ha even cradles her head as if it aches, and Jang Hyun can tell she is honestly tempted to crack Beyond's skull open and see what is rattling around inside. Still, his nonsense drains a good deal of the heaviness out of the room. Jang Hyun smiles and tell them all that these truths sit too far off from them for now. At their current strength, they cannot touch them in the slightest. So, it is better to fix their eyes on what is in front of them and first claw their way out of this infighting among humans. Only by rising to the very top of the whole human race, Jang Hyun says, can they learn more of the truth and take their own fates into their hands. Everyone nods, and Seong-ha agrees softly that they should take it one step at a time, setting everything else aside. She points out, they already have no shortage of enemies, whether it is Will's old organization back on Blue Star or the Alliance of Gods, whose people they keep killing off. Both sit out of reach for the moment, but as the Black Islands merge and fuse into one, running into them is only a matter of when. Will clenches his fists, nodding, and says in a low, hard voice that if he ever comes across the organization, he wants to deal with them himself. Jang Hyun claps a hand on his shoulder and tell him with a smile not to worry, that Jang Hyun will not steal his chance, but that he needs to get stronger from everything he has told him. The people in that organization are ruthless characters, through and through, exactly the sort the dark world favors, which means their strength is surely climbing fast. Then Jang Hyun stretches and say that after a run of battles, everyone has spent, and the haul this time is nothing to sneeze at. So once they have digested it, they ought to move quickly and swallow the surrounding Black Island instances. Everyone nods. His gains were rich, and so were theirs, because that wolf-headed man from the Alliance of Gods turned out to be a fat sheep. Beyond clicks his tongue and muses aloud that it would be lovely if the Alliance of Gods would ship over a few more heads, since killing and looting brings wealth. The resources off that one wolf-headed man alone, he notes, match the take of 6 or 7 ordinary Black Islands. Then he tosses him a clear glass bottle. Jang Hyun catches it and see the spirit body of the wolf-headed man trapped inside. He tells him this is the spirit body he captured, and that he is leaving the interrogation to him. They also pulled in some platinum rank resources, he says, and once everything is sorted, they will show him which pieces suit him before splitting the rest. Jang Hyun never lifted a finger against that wolf-headed man, yet they still cut him in for a share. Jang Hyun goes quiet for a moment, but Jang Hyun does not refuse, only smiling and telling him fine. Then Jang Hyun gathers up the bottle and the corrosion clearing seeds Seong-ha gave him, say his goodbyes, and teleport home. After Jang Hyun leaves, the others do not linger either, each drifting back to their own place. Though little was said aloud, the news it carried has settled a real weight over everyone. One gifted race after another, either turned to beast or vanished without a trace. Would what waits for them next be any gentler? Hard to say. Only strength buys any real sense of safety. Jang Hyun lands back on his Black Island, inside the wizard tower, looking down at the subjects bustling across the field, cleaning up the battle. Jang Hyun is startled for a beat before it clicks. Tak Mongyeol and the others must have arranged it, and they moved fast, which is thoughtful of them that with Seong-ha's seeds in his pocket, the whole job just got a lot less troublesome. Jang Hyun picks up a communication ant, reach Tak Mongyeol, then send a sentry ant off carrying the glass bottle of seeds down to him. That done, Jang Hyun reaches for the orange treasure chest sitting on the table, the reward chest that dropped after Swift Shadow led the ant army to kill the orange instance's leader. It is packed with resources. The red instance chest Jang Hyun opened earlier yielded 2 gold rank sustainable output resources, and an item that boosts the extreme speed navigation skill. So, an orange chest being higher grade should be richer still. Then again, after learning that the orange instance only moved because of the brainworm's meddling, Jang Hyun stopped expecting much of this chest and treated it as an ordinary orange one. It occurs to him, turning it over, that if even a plain instance whose clearing attempt fails will still upgrade by devouring black islands, then the danger is not that severe as long as the instance cannot move. The ones piloted by parasitizing brainworms able to chase and hunt are the real menace. Most chiefs may act the fool now and then, but the bulk of them are shrewd enough, and as long as an instance sits still, few will rashly wander up to it, least of all one that keeps eating black islands and shifting color. Jang Hyun flips the orange chest open, and a wash of treasure light spills out. Jang Hyun looks, and there are actually 4 orbs of light inside. So many Jang Hyun leans in for a closer read, and the moment the details resolve, a look of pure joy Jang Hyun has not worn in a long while breaks across his face. 3 of the 4 are standard fare: a gold-ranked metal resource, an item to strengthen the extreme speed navigation skill, and an item to strengthen the protective barrier skill. What lights him up is the 4th, a platinum rank fire attribute resource. The orange chest can actually cough up platinum rank resources now, which is wonderful. Platinum rank fire resources are exactly what Mars needs to cultivate more self-destruct ants, where they can be traded for other resources of the same grade. And this happens to be his very first platinum rank sustainable output resource. As his territory swells larger and larger, resource items are always welcome. Smiling, Jang Hyun sets the resources aside and turned to the 2 skill-enhancing items. Jang Hyun already claimed 1 extreme speed navigation enhancer from the red instance chest, so that one is familiar. But this is his first time seeing a protective barrier enhancer for where Jang Hyun sits right now. Sharpening his navigation to reach other Black Island instances faster is the more useful of the 2, though better defenses are hardly unwelcome. Without hesitation, Jang Hyun uses both. His extreme speed navigation skill climbs to level 3, pushing the speed bonus on his Black Island to 30%, with his island already 7 times its initial size, lending its own 30%. His Black Island speed is now boosted a terrifying 60%. Even before Jang Hyun touches any item, if Jang Hyun ever decide to go have a chat with a neighboring Black Island, the other party will not escape no matter how ragged they run themselves. The protective barrier upgrades to level 2. Its shield value reaching 300. Jang Hyun has never once activated the barrier, so the number means little to him yet. Next time Jang Hyun clears an instance, Jang Hyun will try switching it on and see what it does. Jang Hyun summons a few centenary ants to run the new resources down to Tokmongyel for storage. Then look at a red glowing gem lying on the table. Confusion crosses his face, and Swift Shadow's voice answers in his mind before Jang Hyun can even ask, telling him it is the item Jang Hyun just had her people retrieve. Right. It comes back to him at once. The red thing that burst out of the aggregated monster when it died to have snagged his attention in that one flash. This ruby is anything but ordinary. Jang Hyun bends over it, gold light flaring in his right eye, and turn his eye of delusion breaking on it. The reading calls it a life gem. Red. A special item holding powerful vitality. And that is all. Even with his spiritual power behind the eye of delusion breaking, that thin line is all Jang Hyun gets. It carries no grade at all. Yet its quality is plainly of the very highest order. Powerful vitality, the reading says. So Jang Hyun suspects this life gem is the real culprit behind the aggregated monster's birth. Just a gem, and it can spin up a monster whose strength touched the upper reaches of platinum rank. Jang Hyun turns it over in his hand, genuinely surprised. The grade sits too high for him to place, and Jang Hyun has no idea where it can even be used. So Jang Hyun decides to bring it up later with Wang Han 9 and Sun Wei Pong and see if the four of them can find a purpose for it. Then Jang Hyun tucks it into his storage ring. Jang Hyun heads up to the mezzanine of the wizard tower where the Black Island core stands, looking at the core stone pillar. Jang Hyun pauses and thought, having devoured so many Black Islands in instances. His island now runs 7 times its initial size. But the condition to upgrade the shelter, if Jang Hyun recalls right, is to devour 5 Black Islands outright. Jang Hyun certainly do not have 5 purely devoured islands, since most of his growth came from swallowing orange instance islands. So, Jang Hyun wonders whether Jang Hyun even qualify. Jang Hyun opens the shelter upgrade panel and looks straight to the conditions. The line reading Devour 5 Black Islands has already turned green, marked complete. And the panel asks whether Jang Hyun wishes to upgrade the shelter. Without hesitation, Jang Hyun chooses to upgrade. The instant Jang Hyun decides, the whole wizard tower is swallowed in a hazy black mist, feeling it rise around him. Jang Hyun marvels a little, thinking that since the wizard tower has taken the place of his shelter's main body, Jang Hyun wonders whether the power upgrading the shelter can act directly on the tower and push its advancement along. Upgrading to a level 6 shelter runs far slower than any upgrade before it. A full hour passes before the black mist thins and drifts away. The upgrade complete. The moment it clears, Jang Hyun looks toward the wizard tower and its growth progresses left a huge stride, jumping from 31% straight to 61%, a clean 30% gain. Jang Hyun cannot help a burst of delight. Upgrading the shelter really can boost the tower's growth, which means a mountain of rare resources saved outright. Then Jang Hyun turns to the ability the upgrade unlocked and to the conditions for the next level. The new ability is called Super Leap. At level 1, it lets him skip a full hour of travel time and reach any target in about a 1-hour travel range on a 7-day cooldown. Super Leap reach anywhere within an hour's travel in an instant. His pupils tighten in spite of him. With a thing like this, Jang Hyun could fake an attack one place and land another, catching people entirely off guard. The only catch is the cooldown. 7 days between uses, and Jang Hyun has no idea yet whether raising the abilities level shortens that or only stretches the skip distance. Leap, the word snags on something, and Jang Hyun frowns, the wolf-headed man from the Alliance of Gods, whose Black Island sat more than 2 hours of travel from Xiongha's, somehow leapt that whole gulf and arrived in a blink, nearly catching them flat. Could he has used Super Leap number that does not add up? The traits line up, but level 1 Super Leap only skips within an hour, and he crossed better than 2 hours worth. So if it were Super Leap, it would have to be level 2 at least. Super Leap unlocks only at a level 6 shelter, and his Black Island was just 5 times its initial size, having eaten 4 islands at most, nowhere near level 6, let alone level 2 Super Leap. So he leaned on some other means, and luckily his spirit body is still in his hands. So if Mu Chong interrogates him, there may be more to gain. Jang Hyun picks up the communication ant at once and calls Mayu Chong, telling her to come to the wizard tower because Jang Hyun has something to ask. She agrees on the spot, all sweetness, and comes jogging the whole way to the foot of the tower, panting as she cranes up at it, rising hundreds of meters into the sky. The moment she calls up to him, a bright white magic circle blooms directly beneath the tower. She steps into it, and in a flash of white light, she is whisked to the top. This is one of the tower's built-in tricks. It has no door, but as its master, Jang Hyun can open a teleportation array to it wherever and whenever Jang Hyun please. She arrives on the 3rd floor, the hall single, so meticulously renovated, which Jang Hyun uses for now as a reception room. Seeing him on the high seat, she bows low and respectfully, asking what orders Jang Hyun has for her, watching her deliberately arch her waist to show off her curves. Jang Hyun can only feel a wave of resignation. This one never wastes a single chance to tempt him, and she is nothing if not persistent. Jang Hyun shakes his head with a smile and tell her to knock off the little tricks, asking whether her back does not hurt and remind her that she should be plenty familiar with the job Jang Hyun has this time. As Jang Hyun speaks, a clear glass bottle appears out of thin air in his right hand, and Jang Hyun tosses it down to her. She shoots him a wounded look, then snatches the bottle out of the air, and the sight of the wolf-headed man's spirit body bouncing around inside stops her short. Jang Hyun tells her this is a member of the outfit called the Alliance of Gods, a companion of that pharaoh she interrogated last time, come to make trouble again. So, Jang Hyun took the chance to arrest him. Jang Hyun tells her to remember the lesson of the pharaoh's shattered spirit body last time, and to see whether she can wring more out of this one. A strange look crosses her face as she thinks to herself that this organization really is dense enough that falling into her master's hands, even several at once, would win them nothing. And yet, they keep coming one by one, which is just handing over heads. She tells him she understands, and that she has had some recent insights of her own, her abilities inching forward. So this is a fine chance to test them on him. She licks her lips with a faintly red tongue, eyeing the spirit body in the bottle with open appetite. For a being like her, who took a devil's inheritance, there is a natural greed for spirit bodies. The pharaoh's spirit body was destroyed in the end last time, but even its fragments brought her no small benefit, feeling her gaze on it like a predator's. The wolf-headed man, who had been slamming himself frantically around the bottle, goes cold all at once and shrinks into a corner, no longer daring to twitch, whimpering for the god to be let go. Ignoring its wailing, she casually drops the bottle into her satchel, then looks up and tells him she has something to report as well. Jang Hyun glances at her, puzzled, and asks what it is. She straightens a touch and says it is like this. While she was outside directing the battlefield cleanup, Jang Hyun nods, since Jang Hyun saw her among the crews before Jang Hyun left for Seongha's. And she goes on. Not long after Jang Hyun left the territory, she says a man cut clean in half at the waist, only the upper body left, came crawling up to her, claiming to be some kind of native, a survivor from under that aggregated monster. Oh, a spark of interest catches in him. Cut in half at the waist and still alive. This person is not simple. Being severed at the waist is no small wound, even back on Blue Star with all its advanced medicine, unless the man happened to be lying on an operating table that very second with the finest specialists over him. Survival would be impossible. Never mind out here in the dark world where medicine is scarce. To live through an injury like that demands both formidable strength and rare healing items. And anyone who has both is no easy mark. On top of that, his spiritual power is nothing to scoff at. And Jang Hyun never once picked this person out on the battlefield before Jang Hyun left. So his talent for hiding must be exceptional, too. As Jang Hyun turns it over, Mayu Chong flashes a bright smile and tells him softly that yes, this man took her for some fragile flower and tried to play on her sympathy to trick her. So, she promptly dug into his soul and, as she expected, found no shortage of surprises. What did you find? Jang Hyun asks. More curious now, she smiles and tells him to guess, then answers herself that this is precisely the Black Island chief who survived from one of the two islands that first drifted up against the upgraded Orange instance. He was also the one who later tried to shove his disaster onto someone else, meaning to lure the mobile Orange instance toward his Black Island, and when that failed, steered it instead toward the island where the aggregated monster waited. So, it was him. This kid has been hopping around the whole time, and Jang Hyun did not expect his life to cling on so stubbornly that he made it to now. He is a promising sort, if he had turned out useful. Jang Hyun might have taken him under his wing, seeing that flicker of interest. Mayu Chong quickly heads it off. By the intel she pulled from his soul, She tells him he sacrificed every one of his own subjects to save his own skin. Beyond that, he has always nursed ill intent toward him, only backing off once he realized his strength was too much for him. Then scrambling to find some other roof to shelter under. There is more to it. Then Jang Hyun frowns. Jang Hyun does not resent him for trying to divert the mobile orange instance onto him, since in his shoes, pressed to the wall, Jang Hyun would have done the same, at the very least, teaming up with another chief to fight it and raising his odds of surviving. But being ruthless enough to throw away all his own people is a bit much, and paired with his long-running designs on him, there is no reason left to keep him breathing. Mayu Chong sees him frown in silence a long while and asks tentatively how Jang Hyun wants him handled. Jang Hyun shakes his head gently and tell her that even a mosquito is a bit of meat, so she can refine his soul alongside the wolf-headed man's and see what else shakes loose. Her smile widens and she chirps that yes, she guarantees she will get it done, then hums a little tune and slips away. Jang Hyun goes to the area core and after careful thought, steer his black island toward the nearest unclaimed island with a full 60% speed boost behind it. His island shoots forward like a torpedo, and the sight of that terrifying pace puts a satisfied smile on him. At this speed, Jang Hyun will reach the destination in half a day, arriving around 1:00 in the morning, and near that island sit 3 more black islands and a red instance, all of which Jang Hyun can scoop up in one sweep. Time slides by, and it is 6:00 in the evening before Jang Hyun knows it. After hours of back and forth, Mayu Chong has finally pried loose a heap of information, and she comes to him happy and eager to claim her credit, chirping that she has indeed made progress, that this interrogation yielded quite a lot, looking at how pleased with herself she is. Jang Hyun feels a little anticipation too, and tell her with a smile to spit it out. And if the intel is useful, her reward will not be small. Her face lights up as she notes that Jang Hyun said so. Then she lays it out piece by piece, saying, "These 2 fat sheep gave her some good information. First, the wolf-headed man. This time, she learned from the last go and searched his spirit body with care, finally turning up an eye-shaped restriction, and breaking it cost her real effort, which is the whole reason the interrogation ran so long. But once it broke, no matter how she combed his soul afterward, his spirit body never shattered." Jang Hyun lights up, pleasantly surprised, and asks, "Whether that means more on the Alliance of Gods this time?" "Exactly," she says, and rattles off a great deal their overall strength, their membership, and the real reason the wolf-headed man came knocking. The Alliance of Gods has a fair number of members. She tells him, dozens of them, everyone a chief, each formidable. Someone like the Pharaoh sits at the very bottom of those dozens, and even the wolf-headed man ranks only upper middle across the whole alliance, nowhere near the top 10. That surprises him. This wolf-headed man is no top-tier existence, but at this stage, he is genuinely fearsome, a foe none of them, Will included, could beat consistently right now, and yet he counts as merely upper middle before. Jang Hyun only had Bacon's vague word for the alliance's power without any firm sense of it, and Mayu Chong report finally hands him a preliminary read on just how terrifying they are. Jang Hyun nods, serious, and tell her the information is very useful to go on. She does, the single strongest existence in the whole alliance, she says, is its ruler, the God King, ranked first, but even the wolf-headed man is deeply unfamiliar with him. Buried in his soul, there was only a faint, bone-deep awe and fear of the God King, and she apologizes that she was useless there and found nothing solid. Jang Hyun frowned faintly. Honestly, sorry to have no specifics on the God King. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you win every fight. And since Jang Hyun has already made an enemy of the Alliance of Gods, the more Jang Hyun can gather on them, the sooner Jang Hyun can prepare. Still, Jang Hyun knows this cannot be forced, and Mayu Chong has already done her best. So Jang Hyun tells her, never mind that there will be chances down the road, and that she has worked hard. A blush rises on her face at not being scolded, and she pushes on. The reason the wolf-headed man came, she says, was to hunt for an item on the Pharaoh, an item every member of the Alliance carries. As long as they hold it, even when members are lost, the Alliance can keep replenishing its ranks, and without it, it cannot. The item is called the God's Token. The God's Token. The name alone sounds high and mighty. Jang Hyun strokes his chin, puzzled, and point out that both the Pharaoh and the wolf-headed man burst apart and died on defeat, their spirits captured, and they never turned up any such item on their bodies or in their territories. Mayu Chong smiles and tells him that normally Jang Hyun would not find it, that it takes a special method. By her interrogation, one has to chant an incantation of the Alliance of Gods at the exact spot where they exploded to summon the God's Token. The spot where they exploded. Jang Hyun muses. Those would all be on Cheongha's Black Island. Though with the 3 islands all fused together now, the precise places may have shifted. So later Jang Hyun will take some sentry ants over to search. Jang Hyun asks her what the incantation is. She tells him it is something like eternal divine light. Eternal divine light. Rather mystical. Jang Hyun turns it over, commits it to memory, and sets the trip aside for later. Then she adds that the God's Token has functions. Worth knowing that the wolf-headed man's sudden skip across 2 hours of travel was done by leaning on the God's Token. So that is how he crossed such a distance. Jang Hyun is a little stunned. An item every member of the Alliance carries has a monstrous ability like that. That skip can only be unlocked at a level 6 shelter, and it is not even that strong when first unlocked. So, no wonder the Alliance has grown so fast. Mayu Chong goes on that, while a member holds the God's Token, their location is also locked by the Alliance, and that if Jang Hyun did not want to be hunted by them, tossing the token away would be the safest move. What a joke. With an item that powerful in hand, why would Jang Hyun throws it away? Dithering like that would be worse than simply surrendering. Jang Hyun shakes his head and tell her to let them come if they are not afraid of dying. She nods hard, eyes shining, praising how domineering her master is, then notes that by her interrogation, the Alliance's members are scattered all over, so gathering their forces to come at him will not be easy. That, she says, is all the useful information from the wolf-headed man. Next comes the one-legged fellow who looks like a punk. And this one has some good things on him. His alloy guitar, she tells him, is a growth-type gold rank weapon carrying a spiritual power attack. A growth-type weapon. His eyes light. Jang Hyun did not expect this punk youth to be holding something so fine. Though, as a Black Island chief, one man standing out among 10,000, he must have racked up countless mission rewards on his way up. So, a few choice items are only normal. Honestly, the most valuable thing was the man himself, who burned through mountains of rare resources, growing into what he was. And the skills he mastered cannot be stripped off him. But since he carried ill intent and set his sights on him more than once, then regrettable as it is, Jang Hyun can only kill him, just as Jang Hyun is mulling it. Mayu Chong adds that the alloy guitar also has a spiritual cultivation skill sealed inside it, one that requires reaching Tier 1 to unlock. And since the one-legged punk never broke through to Tier 1, he never unlocked it. His attention snaps back into light breaks across his face. A spiritual cultivation skill. A weapon that comes bundled with one. Jang Hyun has seen plenty of growth-type weapons, but one carrying a skill on top is unheard of. And better yet, it is a spiritual cultivation skill. Exactly what Jang Hyun has coveted for ages. Bring it here, Jang Hyun tells her. A little impatient, let him see. Jang Hyun is no musician and has no interest in fighting with a guitar. But Jang Hyun can still learn the cultivation skill inside it. Soon, she brings the alloy guitar over. It was caked in blood and grime after the battle, but she wiped it down carefully beforehand, and now it gleams, throwing off little glints of light. Clearly no ordinary thing. Jang Hyun takes it and checks its reading. It calls itself the Superalloy Death Heavy Metal Guitar, gold rank growth type, unbound, able to inflict both physical and spiritual power attacks. The physical tied to strength, and the spiritual to the spiritual power attribute. Absorbing sound attribute skill books can raise the guitar's quality and seal skills within it to draw on at any time, and it holds a spiritual cultivation skill that needs Tier 1 to unlock. Physical attack tied to strength. So, Jang Hyun is meant to just clobber people with the guitar. Jang Hyun looks over its texture, that silver-white metallic sheen, and those blade-sharp sides, and fall quite a beat. Spiritual power attacks are rare by nature and brutally hard to defend against. So, by its effects alone, this weapon lives up to the growth type name. It just does not suit any of them. Still, it would be a waste to lock a top-tier weapon away in a drawer, so Jang Hyun will use it despite the awkwardness. Jang Hyun has no matching sound attribute skills, but the weapon's raw strength should still pull good weight. Jang Hyun goes ahead and activate it, and the panel asks whether Jang Hyun wants to unlock the spiritual cultivation skill sealed inside. Yes, Jang Hyun confirms. A black light flashes across the guitar, and a rough textured black skill book drops into his hand. On its cover sits the name Death Heavy Metal. The reading calls it gold rank and says that by listening to noise and stirring up the spirit, it raises the ceiling of one's spiritual power. A skill sealed inside that guitar, cut from the same cloth. Of course. Jang Hyun sighs a little, half foreseeing the suffering ahead. Just noise, then cultivating spiritual power is extremely hard, and a stable way to raise it is already rare. So a little discomfort is a price Jang Hyun can pay. Jang Hyun uses the black skill book, and the next instant it dissolves into black light and pours into him. A jolt running through his body as the method of cultivating death, heavy metal, locks itself into his mind. From now on, cultivating spiritual power becomes a daily lesson. Jang Hyun cannot skip. Jang Hyun nods, satisfied, and decide to head to Seongha's Black Island, soon to collect the god's tokens. Jang Hyun is about to summon a squad of sentry ants to go when a thought stops him. The spirit-nurturing jar has been sitting in the slaughterhouse this whole time, drinking down souls. And Jang Hyun wonders how many ants it can hold now. If it can carry enough, then Jang Hyun can bring a great many ants along whenever Jang Hyun travels, which would be far more convenient. On that thought, Jang Hyun spreads his light wings and fly toward the underground second-floor farm. After the healing ants advance to platinum rank, Jang Hyun naturally swapped in a fresh batch of them to form the light wings on his back. After the change, his flight speed jumped at least threefold, and Jang Hyun gained a golden stream of light. Jang Hyun can switch on or off at will. On his own territory, Jang Hyun has no need to hide, so Jang Hyun leaves it lit. And as Jang Hyun cut through the air, the golden light shimmers out, gaudy and bright, drawing envious shouts from the underground city's subjects wherever they catch sight of him. Jang Hyun reaches the spirit-nurturing jar fast. Since Jang Hyun redesigned the slaughter line, the jar has been able to drink in the souls of the butchered livestock to the fullest. By now, it has swallowed thousands, tens of thousands of mutated beast souls. So, its rank must have climbed sharply, though Jang Hyun has no idea how far. The black iron rank jar could only carry 10 ants, which is honestly a bit thin. Jang Hyun is not asking for much. Jang Hyun thinks, and if it can hold 500 ants, that would be more than enough. Jang Hyun looks straight at the jar, greedily gulping down souls. And the moment Jang Hyun does, his eyes are yanked to it, because though it is still palm-sized, small enough to cradle in one hand, its whole appearance has transformed. The old jar looked like a crude clay pot, the kind you would pickle cucumbers in, nothing about it hinting at growth-type equipment. Now it is entirely black, carved with insect and grass reliefs, glazed with a rich luster, looking every inch of treasure. Its grade has clearly jumped a fair bit. Delighted, Jang Hyun flares gold light in his right eye and read it. The jar is platinum rank now. Growable, made to hold creatures inside and nurture their spirituality. Its grade rising as it devours souls. And the higher its grade, the more creatures it can hold, with its current capacity at 5,000. Its soul-devouring range covers the whole of his Black Island. Jang Hyun cannot help being startled. The jar climbed from black iron all the way to platinum, and how many days chewing down some sub's livestock could never account for a leap that steep. Jang Hyun strokes his chin and work out the reason. It must tie back to the soul-devouring range. The jar first drank a good stock of livestock souls, nudging its rank up, which widened its absorption range. And a platinum jar can now feed on every creature that dies across his entire island. Before it reached platinum, back at gold rank, its reach was already considerable, enough to blanket the ground around the underground city, and Jang Hyun has just come off a run of major battles. The monsters from that orange instance all died near his underground city, and there was the aggregated monster too, which though a single beast had pinned in seats, countless souls inside its body. With that flood of souls, the jar finally shot up to platinum. Jang Hyun slapped his forehead, a little regretful. Jang Hyun was careless leaving the jar down here and clean forgetting it. When, if Jang Hyun had carried it out earlier to drink the instance monster souls, its rank would likely have climbed faster still. But it is hardly a bad outcome. Platinum is already high, and 5,000 creatures will be plenty for a very long time. And now that it can absorb the souls of the dead across the whole span of his Black Island, Jang Hyun can carry it with him from here on rather than leaving it planted in one spot. Jang Hyun fastens the jar to his waist. Load it with several teams of sentry ants, platinum rank, black scythe hunter ants, and a mix of other ants besides, and only then leave content. Teleporting to Xiongha's Black Island, carrying so many powerful ants along, his sense of safety climbs a good deal. Xiongha's Black Island, her shelter. She frowns faintly and asks soft whether Jang Hyun means she was targeted because of that god's token. Jang Hyun nods and tell her that is right, that it is intel. His people wrung out of the wolf-headed man. The token matters enormously to the alliance of gods, and they will not let it go. So as long as it stays with her, they will keep sending people to harass her. Her brows knit deeper, her abilities lean towards steady, gradual growth, and she prefers peace to commotion, so the thought of endless harassment gives her a headache. She asks straight away whether they can find the god's token and simply toss it because constant raids from the alliance would wreck her development plans. Jang Hyun smiles and tell her not to worry, that Jang Hyun knew she could not handle the token, which is exactly why Jang Hyun came, and that Jang Hyun will find it first and study it to learn what special effects it has. Jang Hyun also asks her to pass word of the god's token to Will and the others, so any of them who are curious can come research it with him. She breathes easier, thanks him, and agrees with a smile. Jang Hyun says his goodbyes, come out of the shelter, and fly up into the air, patting the jar at his waist. In an instant, countless sentry ants stream out of it, spilling to the ground, spreading wide and setting off to hunt down the spots where the pharaoh and the wolf-headed man died. In only about half an hour, under the sentry ants' formidable reconnaissance, they turn up both places where the two exploded. Jang Hyun flies over and silently recite the incantation, Eternal Divine Light. Sure enough, a faint golden shimmer flickers across the empty ground, and a golden fragment carved with mysterious runes appears in his hand. It is the god's token. It is his. A small smile crosses his face as Jang Hyun reads it again. The token. It says, let's one join the alliance of gods and become a member after use, and it holds multiple functions that activate once used. Reading that, a strange look settles over him. Using this god's token, Jang Hyun can join the alliance of gods, which means Jang Hyun can slip straight into the enemy's ranks. And with two tokens, Jang Hyun can infiltrate with two bodies. Jang Hyun weighs the pair in his palm and sink into thought. If Jang Hyun does not use a token, Jang Hyun cannot touch its functions and will only be tracked and pinned for nothing, which is a plain loss. But if Jang Hyun does use it, then, as Mayu Chong said, every so often a spiritual power projection of his gets dragged into a grand hall to sit through an alliance meeting the God King convenes. That God King is far too mysterious, his strength unfathomable, and Jang Hyun has no idea whether he would see through him. There are quite a few tokens scattered about by her account, dozens at least, and now and then someone picks one up and joins, and as long as they heed the God King's command, he raises no objection. Still, something about it sits wrong with him, a faint whiff of conspiracy. And Jang Hyun has always carried a threat of weariness toward that God King. Baeun said the God King used some unknown means to force everyone on a black island to submit outright, which reads like an ability tied to the spiritual power attribute. Jang Hyun remembers, and to use the token, one has to inject a trace of spiritual power into it to bind it. Feeding a strand of his own spiritual power into the hands of an enemy so skilled with the spirit is extremely dangerous, and Jang Hyun must not gamble lightly with it. Jang Hyun frowns down at the token, feeling like a man standing before a mountain of treasure, with no way to step inside. After a short think, a plan lights up behind his eyes. The so-called alliance of gods is a menagerie of strange beings anyway. So why not let an ant use a token to go undercover and lie in wait? That way, Jang Hyun can tap the token's powerful functions and sit in on the meetings, gathering intelligence on the alliance's movements, which would be worth an immense amount. And if anything goes wrong, if the God King notices and moves against it, then all Jang Hyun loses is one ant. In that case, though, Jang Hyun cannot let an ant queen use it. The risk is too great, and Jang Hyun cannot use one too weak either, which would be conspicuous. It has to be a platinum rank ant at the very least. Turning over the various species, Jang Hyun settles on a platinum ranked black scythe hunter ant as the test subject for several reasons. At an alliance meeting, the spiritual power projection reflects one's body and image, and black scythe hunter ants are powerful and carry a suitably imposing oversized presence, plenty intimidating. Beyond that, Mo All once ate a voice modification bead, so the black scythe hunter ants she raised can speak human language, which clears any hurdle around communication. And Moal is currently assigned to the ant nest researching wizard skills, so she has time to spare. And once this ant's projection is pulled into a meeting, she can step in at any moment through her queen's authority and directed to speak. So Jang Hyun releases a platinum rank black scythe hunter ant from the spirit nurturing jar and have it try the token. At his command, it brushes the god's token gently with its antenna. A golden light flashes, its body sways a touch, and then it binds the token cleanly. The first step is a success. Delighted, Jang Hyun checks the token-specific functions at once. Since as the boss of this black scythe hunter ant, Jang Hyun holds all the authority, Jang Hyun needs to view and use them. After use, the reading says, one joins the alliance of gods, and activating the token lets the spirit body escape and return to the temple. Its first function is the alliance meeting, where the God King, holding the core, convenes a gathering in the temple that token holders attend by spiritual power projection. Its second function is God, descent letting one, mark a black island. And if the sailing time to it runs past 1 day, with the remaining distance inside 3 hours one can reach the target directly on a 7-day cooldown. Its third function stays locked until the total number of black islands the member's control reaches 2,000. Interesting. The functions this token unlocks are tied straight to how many black islands the members hold as a whole. This god descent is plainly the ability the wolf-headed man used to ambush Jang Hyun. Set against Super Leap, it carries more restrictions. And the cooldown is no shorter, but an extra fast travel method will still lift his development pace by a good margin. And activating the token to let the spirit body flee is surely the trick the pharaoh and the wolf-headed man reached for at the very end. What waits for a lone spirit body once it returns to the temple is hard to say, and it clearly amounts to a last resort. That god descent alone makes the whole effort worthwhile. Never mind the chance to bury a spy in the enemy's ranks. Jang Hyun nods, satisfied, and tucked the god's token into his storage ring for now. The Black Island Jang Hyun picked still needs 8 hours to reach, and the travel time has not crossed a full day, so it does not meet God to sense conditions, with nothing pressing. Jang Hyun takes out the alloy guitar and head for the gravity room, which soundproofs beautifully and has already become his practice room. Let him give the new death heavy metal a try. An hour later, Jang Hyun staggers out of the gravity room, face bloodless, propping himself against the wall. This is too deadly, Jang Hyun thinks, truly living up to its name, death heavy metal. His lips are white, his ears ringing, his vision swimming, his heart hammering like his skull had been shoved inside a giant bell and struck for a solid hour. It takes a long while before Jang Hyun recovers, even a little. The process was agony, but the improvement is unmistakable. After all his various enhancements, his spiritual power had already reached 61 points and was extremely hard to nudge higher. Yet, a single hour of training bumped at a full point. The effect is genuinely good, though it may be steeper only because this was his first session with the gains tapering off later. Even so, Jang Hyun is thrilled because Jang Hyun finally has a stable road to raising his spiritual power. Jang Hyun rubs his temples more than satisfied. Right then, his manual chimes and Jang Hyun pulls it out to find a letter from Baeon. He writes that Seong-ha told him Jang Hyun found 2 gods' tokens and asks whether Jang Hyun can spare him one. Baeon. Jang Hyun is briefly stunned. Jang Hyun has 2 in hand, and since the token's function cannot be stacked, keeping so many is useless to him. Beyond that, he contributed a great deal to getting them in the first place, because had he not imprisoned the spirits of the pharaoh and the wolf-headed man, forget 2. Jang Hyun would not have landed even one. Handing him one is fine. Jang Hyun thinks a moment and right back asking whether Seong-ha told him the tokens, traits that just holding it locks your location to the alliance of gods, and that using it lets your spiritual power be harvested. Since their god king is a master of the spirit, there is real risk, Jang Hyun adds. So can he handles it? He replies with his usual breeziness that he has a fair few special function items on hand to deal with it specifically. So there will be no danger. The truth, he admits, is that the old man of his family is deeply keen on intelligence about the alliance of gods. So he has no choice but to give it a shot. So that is it. Since Baeon knows the risks, then it is fine. He usually plays the unreliable clown. But Jang Hyun knows that is only a front. And when his own safety is on the line, he turns as steady as an old dog. All right, Jang Hyun tells him. Good that you know the risks. Then start a trade and pass the spare token across. He thanks him, crows that he is off to research it, accepts the trade, and hurries away. Jang Hyun shakes his head with a smile and go hunting for supplements to patch the spiritual power, the death. Heavy metal training drained out of him. Time slides quickly to 8 at night and the arena opens. Jang Hyun has not stopped competing in the arena these days. But Jang Hyun can only fight 3 matches daily. With his recent surge in strength, Jang Hyun counts among the very top combat powers, even among all the chiefs who can enter the world arena across the whole dark world. Every day, Jang Hyun clocks in. Finish 3 battles inside 10 minutes. And clock out. Today is different, though. Today is the day since the arena opened, which means it is time for the World Arena settlement. Jang Hyun has had his eye on the settlement rewards for a whole month, and the day is finally here. It only pays out once a month. And the combat intensity across the World Arena runs so brutal that if the rewards were stingy, it would be genuinely unreasonable. As 10 at night arrives on the dot, a mysterious voice Jang Hyun has not heard in a long time speaks in his ear. The arena has been open 30 days, it says, and is about to close. So, the world ranking settlement will now proceed. Survivors ranked in the top 1% globally receive 1 diamond ranked treasure chest and 1 diamond rank arena treasure chest. Those in the top 10% receive 2 platinum rank treasure chests and 2 platinum rank arena treasure chests. Those in the top 20% receive 1 platinum rank chest and 1 platinum rank arena chest, and on it runs. After midnight tonight, the arena will close and arena points will no longer be usable. The announcement is a long one, with everyone in the top 50% globally taking home some reward, and survivors in the top 1% even walking away with 2 diamond rank chests. By his past experience, chests always carry a chance to spit out an item 1 grade higher. So, a diamond ranked chest has a real shot at a legendary rank item. The odds are tiny, but the chance is there, and even without a legendary item, the likelihood of a diamond rank 1 is far from small. At a stage like this, when platinum rank items are already vanishingly rare, what would a diamond rank or even a legendary rank item mean? Jang Hyun kept a flawless record. So naturally, Jang Hyun sits in the top 1% globally, and 2 chests are already in his hands, both sheath and hexagonal diamond facets, with only slight differences in detail. The diamond rank treasure chest and the diamond rank arena treasure chest. Yet, Jang Hyun is frowning, showing no joy at the diamond rank rewards. His face gone solemn instead. Diamond rank chests, Jang Hyun thinks, mean a large number of people will pull diamond rank or even legendary rank items. And given the sheer size of the pool, there will surely be plenty. As one rises, another falls. And if Jang Hyun fails to open anything of quality, while others open something finer, Jang Hyun could well slip into a disadvantage. Jang Hyun lets a soft breath go because opening chests is far too much of a gamble. No one can promise the outcome beyond the rewards. What puzzles him more is that the mysterious voice actually announced the arena's closure tonight. Only 1 round of rewards and the arena is rushing to shut down, which is genuinely not normal. Jang Hyun frowned because Jang Hyun vaguely recalled the announcement made when the arena opened, saying nothing at all about a closure, with no thread to follow for the moment. Jang Hyun sets it aside. The arena is closing soon, and Jang Hyun still have a mountain of points Jang Hyun never spent on items, and Jang Hyun cannot let them go to waste, which would hurt worse than killing him. So, Jang Hyun hurries into the arena and open the arena shop at once. After so many days of unbroken victories, his arena rank has climbed to platinum, all but breaking into diamond. So, Jang Hyun can already exchange for platinum rank, skill treasure chests, and blueprint treasure chests. Arena badge fragments and advancement fragments have purchase limits, so Jang Hyun cannot claim many of those. Jang Hyun pours all 85,100 of his points into platinum rank skill chests and blueprint chests. And since each chest runs 5,000 points, all those points only buy him 17 chests. Do not let the cow fool anyone, though, because the arena shop is a flat swindle, its chests carrying an extremely low chance of yielding skill books or blueprints. If these could produce even 1 platinum rank skill and 1 platinum rank blueprint, that would already count as a fine haul. Jang Hyun still have 100 points left over, and Jang Hyun refuses to waste them. So, Jang Hyun trades for 2 black iron rank skill chests, spending himself out clean, and only then leave the arena satisfied, looking at the dense little army of chests laid out before him. Above all the 2 diamond ranked ones, his mood tangles up. Excited and uneasy at once, Jang Hyun hopes his luck holds. Jang Hyun mutters that whatever the other chests do, the diamond rank ones at least hand him something good, that Jang Hyun will not even ask for a legendary item as long as Jang Hyun gets a diamond rank one. After muttering to himself a while, Jang Hyun is about to crack open a few platinum rank skill chests to warm up. Then, without warning, another mysterious voice sounds, a dark world announcement. It calls itself, telling all survivors not to mourn the closing of the arena because a more thrilling event. The Great Vortex is about to begin. The Great Vortex. What kind of abstract name is that? A faint, ugly premonition settles over him, and Jang Hyun frowns, no longer interested in the treasure chests at his feet. Jang Hyun stops everything and listens closely as the mysterious voice keeps broadcasting across the dark world. It tells them the Great Vortex will spawn at random points across the whole map, each one dragging the black islands around it inward, and the suction climbs over time, rising a full level every 7 days from a starting point of level 1. The 7 colored instance light spots are spared the pull, and anyone attacking an instance or a black island goes immune to the suction while they fight. Devour an instance or a black island outright, and you earn 6 full hours of immunity. Your island's normal sailing speed handed back to you, but any black island swallowed whole by a vortex is gone for good. The map already seeded with them, and after midnight tonight, the whole thing takes effect in earnest. Only islands past 100 units in size shrug off the suction entirely, and the event closes out after 30 days. 5 separate stones, and each one lands square on the skull of every survivor in the dark world. The whole crowd that was crowing over the arena settlement a moment ago curdles at once, cheer sliding straight into fury. The world channel becomes a wall of noise. One survivor swears he just clawed his way to chief and cannot even warm the seat before this drops. And another begs any strong figure to meet him halfway so he can simply surrender. A third gloat that the 7 colored spots are confirmed as instances, only to be reminded why no one fights the yellow one beside his island. Jang Hyun sets his manual down and turns the thing, called the Great Vortex, over in his head. The initial suction is only level 1, and Jang Hyun wonders how much a level 1 pull will actually amount to. Jang Hyun had planned to reach the next Black Island around 1:00 in the morning, so it should bite into him at least a little. That thought sends him straight into the dark world map. His map only renders the ground near him in real detail. Everything further off, smothered under a thin veil of black mist that hides the specifics. Even so, upper right of his own black island, near the center of the view, a gray vortex-shaped icon has indeed appeared, and for the moment, it sits perfectly still. The instant Jang Hyun makes it out clearly, a strange expression crosses his face. This whole stretch of sea holds close to 100 black islands in roughly 10 instances, and it produced exactly 1 vortex. The suction only lets go of an island once it reaches 100 units, which should mean 100 times the size of a starting island. Read plainly. This vortex is nothing but a tool to speed along the selection of the single strongest chief in the entire sea area. His expression turns serious. Jang Hyun has to ride the vortex's weak early suction and devour islands and instances as fast as Jang Hyun possibly can. Once the pole grows teeth, plenty of black islands will simply be dragged in and eaten whole, and the number left for him to swallow will shrink badly. Then his brows ease, and Jang Hyun smiles a little because for right now, this vortex actually does him a favor. The island Jang Hyun is chasing, and the cluster Jang Hyun means to conquer, after it all sit between his black island and the vortex, which means the suction currently costs him nothing. If a target holds still, the pull touches neither of them. If a target tries to bolt, the suction only helps him run it down. Best of all, the vortex lies right along his route, so it will not add a minute to the time Jang Hyun needs to reach his first target. His manual chimes not long after the announcement ends, and somehow Jang Hyun already sense who it is before Jang Hyun picks it up. Beyond and the others have written, calling the vortex event interesting and warning that everyone is about to get busy. Jang Hyun tells them not to do anything foolish to find a black island to attack quickly, lock in their suction immunity, and only then start scheming. They answer that they know. They know. And after a little back and forth, Jang Hyun puts the manual down. Feeling genuinely relaxed, now for the chests. Jang Hyun sets aside. Jang Hyun lets out a slow breath, smile, and decide to try his luck. 10 minutes later, all 17 platinum rank skill chests and blueprint chests Jang Hyun traded out of the arena lie open, the ground carpeted with their gaping, empty lids. Jang Hyun rubs his throbbing temples, unsure whether it is the aftermath of cultivating death-heavy metal or the sheer misery of what these chests coughed up. 10 platinum rank skill chests and 7 platinum rank blueprint chests. And out of all 17, Jang Hyun pulled exactly 1 gold rank earth element skill book and 1 gold rank mixer blueprint. The rest a heap of raw materials, decent enough in value, but for platinum rank chests. That is thorough, top to bottom rotten luck. Jang Hyun summons a sentry. Ant. Load the whole pile, including the skill book and blueprint, into a bikin pack and send it off to Takmongyel for safekeeping. Jang Hyun shakes his head with a sour grin. Did Jang Hyun opens them wrong? Jang Hyun washed his hands, so surely Jang Hyun does not need to burn, instance, and purify himself first. Mysticism cannot rescue the unlucky, and no amount of real money could buy fortune here anyway, because this is the dark world with no game, operator to bribe, and no cash shop to feed. Jang Hyun puts no stock in superstition. Jang Hyun believes in science, a stubborn materialist to the bone, and by simple probability. 17 unlucky chests do not doom the last 2. Jang Hyun takes a deep breath, the confusion in his eyes hardening back into conviction, and reach for the final pair. Diamond rank treasure chest in the left hand. Diamond rank arena treasure chest in the right. Jang Hyun bears down with both hands at once and flip the lids open together, and brilliant light bursts out bright enough to sting. Jang Hyun squints and look. Jang Hyun refuses to celebrate early. A moment ago, a platinum rank chest threw off the same steady glow. And the truth is, Jang Hyun can make even a silver rank item shine. So the light is nothing but chest opening theater. No measure of anything. What you see is what you get. And Jang Hyun needs to read the actual item information with his own eyes. Jang Hyun checks the diamond rank arena chest on his right first. 500 advancement fragments. A diamond rank skill called Reigns of Domestication, and a platinum rank stone of comprehension. And the second Jang Hyun takes them in. His uneasy heart floods with excitement. Only 3 items, but every one of them is a gem. And honestly, they cross straight into top tier. 500 advancement fragments. More than everything Jang Hyun has scraped together over all this time combined. Advancement fragments are the key to pushing an arena badge higher. And after his reached platinum rank, Jang Hyun already had enough ordinary fragments for the jump to diamond, but the advancement fragments stayed maddeningly scarce. With the arena closing, Jang Hyun had written off ever taking the badge to diamond rank at all, and just when the hope felt dead, this one chest drops the exact thing Jang Hyun was missing. Jang Hyun does not rush the badge upgrade, though. Jang Hyun keeps reading downward to the Reigns of Domestication, his first diamond rank skill of any kind, whenever a summoned creature or follower of his dies. It raises every other summon and followers' attack power by 30%, attack speed by 30%, and movement speed by 30% for someone who fights by commanding an ant army. This is insane, worth every ounce of its diamond rank, far past anything Jang Hyun expected. Let a single self-destruct ant blow itself apart at the opening of a battle, and the reins of domestication fires instantly. A group-wide rage no weaker than Will's own. His hands tremble a little on the skill book, and Jang Hyun cannot resist learning it on the spot. The system confirming that Jang Hyun has mastered reins of domestication. With the skill that good already in hand, Jang Hyun would have no patience for anything else if Jang Hyun did not use it first. Satisfied, Jang Hyun moves on to the last item, the Stone of Comprehension, which the description says will sharply raise his grasp of power and lift. The success rate of an advancement when Jang Hyun uses it, only platinum rank, yet its value stands level with a decent diamond rank item. All his ant queens have already climbed to platinum rank, and Jang Hyun is only a sliver of insight short of breaking into tier 2. So, the stone arrives at exactly the right moment. Once Jang Hyun reaches tier 2, Jang Hyun can try pushing his queens to diamond rank, and his strength will lurch upward all over again. Jang Hyun weighs the Stone of Comprehension in his palm and let a little sentiment through. Sharp comprehension and rare talent are precious. Sure, but resources are their own kind of talent, and using an item to buy insight for a breakthrough is nothing to be ashamed of. To wring the most out of it, Jang Hyun will need a quiet place, a settled state, and his full effort poured in at once, and Jang Hyun simply do not have the time right now. So, Jang Hyun slides it into his storage ring for later. Now, the diamond rank treasure chest on his left, which is a different animal from the Arena 1. The Arena chest, with the word Arena in its name, only ever opens things tied straight to personal strength, fragments, and skill books, and comprehension stones. This plain diamond rank chest has no such leash, so its pool is far wider and far more likely to spit out mere resources, exactly like the earlier chest that treated him so poorly, but with those top-tier arena pulls already in hand. Jang Hyun has shed the unlucky label. Jang Hyun is no longer empty-handed, and his heart has gone calm. So, Jang Hyun holds no grand hopes for this one. A good pull is fortune, a bad one is fate, and either way, it is not worth losing sleep. The odds of a diamond rank chest yielding an actual diamond rank item run about 1 in, which is genuinely not low. A legendary rank item sits near 1 in 20, a thread of hope so thin Jang Hyun refuses to lean on it with only a single chest to his name. The greater the hope, the sharper the fall. The remaining 3/4 land on platinum and gold rank. And even the guaranteed floor, being gold and platinum, lives right up to the diamond-ranked name. Something that would have been unthinkable half a month ago. Jang Hyun still remember a single gold-rank skill setting his whole development path back then, the one Jang Hyun has clung to and grown on from the very start. Calm, a slight smile on his lips, savoring the sweetness of now against the hardship of then. Jang Hyun looks into the sparkling chest on his left, and the next instant, his whole body seizes as if a nerve has been struck. That easy calm gone, his eyes locked on what lies inside. A platinum rank blazing sky stone, a legendary ranked dragon scale cloak, and a gold rank lotus grass. A legendary rank item. It actually opened one. Jang Hyun is utterly stunned. The two lesser items forgotten. His gaze fused to the soft cloak woven from pieces of dark black scale. Jang Hyun had no intention of planting flowers, yet the willows grew into shade all on their own. The very chest Jang Hyun had written off, handing him the legendary rank prize that countless people only dream about. Jang Hyun checked the dragon scale, cloak first, and the readout tells him it is cloak type equipment active the moment it is worn, with 3 separate effects, every one of them hidden behind a question mark. 3 effects, and Jang Hyun cannot read a single one. The diamond rank reigns of domestication showed him everything freely, so it seems that even 1 rank of difference sets legendary items on another plane, without the effects. Jang Hyun does not even know whether Jang Hyun can wear the thing, so Jang Hyun tentatively drape it over his back and feel nothing change. Then a prompt tells him Jang Hyun is wearing unidentified equipment, that its effects cannot activate, and that Jang Hyun must identify it before use. Identification. Jang Hyun has never so much as heard the word. Jang Hyun wonders whether his eye of delusion breaking can pierce the cloak's secrets, and if not, Jang Hyun will just have to hand it to Byeon. Jang Hyun peels the cloak off, hold it out in front of him, and let golden light bloom in his right eye as Jang Hyun stares it down. This time is different. The cloak does not simply cough up its information. Instead, a strange suction takes hold and starts draining his spiritual power at speed, and rather than panic, Jang Hyun feels a grin coming on. Jang Hyun is never afraid of a reaction, only of no reaction at all. So, if it wants spiritual power, then it can have all of it. Jang Hyun pours his power into his right eye until it blazes like a golden lance, and the beam dries clean through the cloak. It drinks his spiritual power for a while, then fills, unable to take another drop, and the golden light punches through as an invisible barrier shatters. Now the full readout spreads before him. The dragon scale cloak is made from the back scales of a legendary rank black dragon, woven through with myethil thread, carrying immense power. Its first effect, Dragon's Might, holds a dragon's coercion, pressing down on any creature below legendary rank with a weak bloodline, and cutting all of the target's attributes by 20%. Its second effect, Magic Immunity, gives Black Dragon Scale resistance so fierce it grants 50% damage. Immunity against any elemental skill below legendary rank. Its third effect, Dragon Chi, floods the wearer with a dragon's aura that raises every attribute by 10 points and lifts the hidden charm attribute by 3. Luxurious. Absolutely luxurious. Jang Hyun cannot hide the shock in his eyes, and Jang Hyun throws the cloak over his shoulders at once, strength surging through his whole frame, explosive power packed into every muscle. His fists clench on their own, just Dragon's Might cutting 20% off the attributes of everything below legendary rank is worth a full piece of diamond gear by itself. Magic Immunity and Dragon Chi are just as practical, the only sour note being the 3 points of charm, nearly useless to him, better swapped for a spiritual attribute if Jang Hyun could ask, but it is already outrageously strong. And Jang Hyun will not be greedy. Jang Hyun cannot put the handsome monstrous thing down, and only after playing with it a good while do Jang Hyun finally turn to the last 2 items. One is the platinum-ranked Blazing Sky Stone, a sustainable fire attribute ore, and the other, the gold-ranked Lotus Grass, whose seeds swiftly restore worn muscle and drain spiritual power, both precious in their own right. After a legendary item, though, his threshold is climbed so high they barely stir him, and Jang Hyun hands them to a sentry ant to carry off to Takmongjil. Then, draped in his dragon scale cloak, Jang Hyun sets off to stroll the base and enjoy himself. His subjects erupt as Jang Hyun passes. One gasps that their lord is handsome. Another tells him to say something they do not already know. And a third swears his heart pounded at the mere sight of him. Wondering whether this is the aura of a king, Jang Hyun drifts through the praise glowing. To come home rich and hide it is like wearing fine clothes in the dark. And after finally landing a piece of gear this superb, Jang Hyun is itching to show it off. Across the dark world's public screen, people are already flaunting the diamond and even legendary items they cracked out of chests, drawing waves of cheers and envy, strangers begging the lucky ones to carry them. Jang Hyun envies those items himself. But Jang Hyun sneers at the act of posting them for the whole world to see. Because splashing your top-tier gear across a public feed in the middle of a scramble like this is just an elaborate way of asking to die fast. Screws loose. Every one of them. Jang Hyun wants to strut too, but only in front of his subjects and at most a few teammates purely to scratch the vanity itch. Jang Hyun would never do anything that foolish. Jang Hyun reaches Sun Wei Pong's alchemy lab first, and the moment Jang Hyun steps in, a cloud of dust hits him and Jang Hyun chokes, coughing as Jang Hyun asks what on earth he is doing. He does not even register him, dressed in rags and disheveled like a beggar, only his eyes burning. He stares at the temperature readout on the Black Tech alchemy furnace, oblivious. The other apprentices manage a greeting to their lord, but their eyes never leave their own furnaces, hands forever adjusting heat and feeding in fresh material. And not one of them so much as glances at his luxurious cloak. Jang Hyun waits for them to keep working and leave, thoroughly deflated, and head for Wang Han's biological laboratory instead. Wang Han sits at his desk, frowning over documents, and Jang Hyun opens and shuts the door, then flick his cloak, which snaps his attention over at once. The instant he sees the dragon scale cloak, his gaze loses focus, and he actually stands and drifts toward him. Wang Han is usually so aloof, his whole mind lost in genetics, that Jang Hyun never expected the cloak to break his composure like this, and his vanity swells at the sight of his dazed face. Jang Hyun is on the verge of explaining the cloak's powers when he reaches out, grabs a fistful of it, and looks up with a frenzied, glittering excitement. He tells him he senses a powerful biological aura on it, that wearing it as mere equipment is a waste, that Jang Hyun should hand it over so he can take it apart for experiments. Has Wang Han lost his mind? He actually wants to dismantle the legendary equipment Jang Hyun just got his hands on. Jang Hyun jolts, yank the cloak out of his grip, and turn to bolt. But he shows an agility Jang Hyun has never seen from him, one long stride carrying him into the doorway to block his escape. Jang Hyun tells him to drop the idea that if he wants research material, Jang Hyun can find him other things, but not this. A legendary piece Jang Hyun has not even worn once, that Jang Hyun is not rich enough to let him rip it apart for fun. Clutching the cloak, his voice hard, Jang Hyun stares him down. He pushes his frameless glasses up, seeming to steady a little, and murmurs that if it is legendary equipment, no wonder the aura is so strong, which is all the more reason to hand it over. He tells him no, and gets more excited. Jang Hyun almost laughs in exasperation. Take a deep breath, scroll the equipment's full attributes onto a scrap of paper, and pass it to him. Jang Hyun tells him to give him his reasons, that if he means to dismantle it, he should at least make it serve a purpose worth more than the cloak itself. Wang Han reads the note, his pupil snapping tight, then steps aside from the doorway and shakes his head, admitting the equipment is far too valuable to be taken apart. So he is reasonable after all. Relieved, that clap his shoulder and thank him, telling him his research has always carried its weight. By rights, Jang Hyun should feed his appetite for material. But the cloak is genuinely precious, and the times are chaotic, so its effects matter too much just now. And Jang Hyun promises to bring him high-grade material the instant Jang Hyun has any. Jang Hyun is turning to leave when he speaks again. He says these scales come from a legendary rank black dragon, and that dragon scales are organs, so they carry the black dragon's gene. A small extraction injected into an ant queen would absolutely lift her ant's growth ceiling to diamond rank. Maybe even the mid to late diamond stage, brushing right up against legendary. His words drop into him like a devil's whisper, and his hurried feet stop dead. Diamond rank. That is diamond rank. Jang Hyun is on the cusp of Tier 2, and the moment Jang Hyun crosses it, the seal keeping his ants from diamond rank lifts. But the resources to haul them from platinum to diamond are still nowhere near in hand, and the queens have only fused platinum-ranked genes so far. So even a diamond-ranked gene might not clear the bar. A legendary ranked gene is a different creature entirely. spanning 2 whole ranks guaranteed to rocket the ants straight to diamond rank, a legendary piece of equipment on one side, his ants leaping to diamond rank on the other. Jang Hyun stalls in the dilemma and look helplessly at the man who put him here, asking him to stop playing coy and tell him whether there is a way to have both. Wang Han pushes his glasses up and says, lightly, that his cloak is far too gaudy, that some of the scales are plainly nothing but decoration. Jang Hyun leaves Wang Han's office. Jang Hyun walked in radiant in a brand new legendary cloak, and Jang Hyun walks out with no cloak in sight. Jang Hyun gives a bitter smile and mutter that Jang Hyun hopes Wang Han keeps his word, that he strips only the useless decorative scales. For gene fragments and leaves, the equipment's real attributes untouched. Jang Hyun lets his beautiful blueprint sway him, chose to trust him. And the second Jang Hyun steps out, Jang Hyun feels the regret, but it is already in his hands, and Jang Hyun cannot take back his word. So Jang Hyun lets it go. If the plan runs smooth, Jang Hyun will be raising diamond rank ants next and multiplying his strength several times over. The cloak is powerful, but its lift to his personal strength, even at a full 100%, is nothing beside cultivating his main force. The ants themselves, even if Wang Han botches it and wrecks the cloak entirely, in raw combat power, Jang Hyun still come out ahead, comforted by his own accounting. Jang Hyun heads straight for the gravity room. Now that his spiritual power has risen, his grasp of strength feels sharper than ever. And Jang Hyun happens to pull a stack of advancement from the Diamond Arena chest that can push his badge to diamond rank, which itself deepens comprehension. With all of it stacked together, Tier 2 should be very close. The moment Jang Hyun reaches the gravity room, Jang Hyun takes out the arena badge and spends 10,000 badge fragments and 800 advancement fragments to carry it to diamond rank. And its attributes surge all over again. It now lets him pick 2 of the 4 attributes: strength, agility, physique, and spirit, and raise each by 30 points. No longer just 1, it grants a flat 20% damage increase. And while that is lower than the platinum figure, it has shed the restriction of only working inside the arena, which is a huge gain instead, and it lifts his comprehension of strength from the old 15% all the way to 25%. Exactly what Jang Hyun needs with Tier 2 in his sights. Jang Hyun consciously ignored the requirements to push the badge onto legendary rank, because the arena is closed anyway, and even open the resource cost is a mountain. Jang Hyun could not say how long it would take to climb. Very satisfied, Jang Hyun pins the badge to his chest. Seal the gravity room, and sink into the work of breaking through to Tier 2. With every boost layered on, his mind clears, and his understanding of strength grows fast. The boundary of Tier 2 rising to meet him. Cultivation knows no clock, and time slides by. Soon, it is exactly midnight, and every vortex icon on the map begins to turn. Every vortex across the dark world spinning with it, birthing a suction that hauls at everything nearby. And in that same moment, Jang Hyun, deep in seclusion, snap his eyes open, a flash of divine light passing through them. A wave of weightlessness rolls through his whole body, as if he were floating on a cloud and had just fallen from it. Jang Hyun pushes himself up off the gravity room floor, glance at his hands, and at the faint dent his own weight pressed into the ground, and shake his head. So this is what it feels like to break into Tier 2. His body has gone light. His strength has climbed hard, and his bond with the ants is closer than ever. And once several of his queens reach diamond rank, his strength will surge yet again. Rising in power too fast is not purely a blessing, though, if Jang Hyun does not train and settle into the change soon, his strength could dip instead of climb. There is also a faint creeping sense that Jang Hyun is an ant himself, an aftershock of the Tier 2 breakthrough. That means Jang Hyun needs to steady his mind as much as his body. Jang Hyun is genuinely troubled by how quickly Jang Hyun is strengthening. And if anyone heard that complaint out loud, The envy would probably bury him, so Jang Hyun does not rush out. Jang Hyun stays and works the change through his limbs, controlling every motion until the new strength sits right. Jang Hyun looks in on his core skill. The species contract for ants. Back at his Tier 1 breakthrough, Jang Hyun chose the species contract as his core ability, and the choice lifted it from gold rank to platinum, unlocking a damage transfer branch usable once a day that has saved his life more than once. Now breaking into Tier 2, the species contract climbs another rank to diamond and unlocks a fresh branch, Power of the Commander, which raises the attributes of every subordinate ant by 10% of his own total attributes. Reads simply, if his 4 attributes sum to 100 points, each ant gains 10 points across strength, constitution, agility, and spirit on its own. The branch looks modest since his attributes, apart from a standout spirit, are nothing special, but paired with another of his abilities, the whole picture flips. Jang Hyun long ago fused the growth type heart of the Lord, which feeds his attributes by the number and quality of his contracted ants and lets him fix 3 ant abilities onto himself. After all his queens hit platinum rank, the heart of the Lord rose to platinum with them, hauling his strength, agility, and constitution up sharply, under every blessing layered together. Jang Hyun is frankly a humanoid monster now, his raw stats standing level with the survivors who fight on pure physical prowess, and the attributes the heart of the Lord grants him feed straight into the new power of the Commander, which then pushes those same attributes back into the ants. The attributes the heart of the Lord gives him come from the ants to begin with, and now the species contract turns around and pours them back into the ants. It feels like stepping on his own left foot with his right to climb into the heavens, and Jang Hyun half wonder whether the endless loop will simply blow his body clean through the sky and turn him into a god or a saint on the spot. Naturally, it does no such thing. Studying it closer, Jang Hyun finds the 2 effects each fire only once and cannot stack forever, and attributes from equipment along with the ant. Abilities. Jang Hyun gains through the heart of the Lord cannot amplify ant attributes at all. His fantasy of ascending on his own feet collapses. But Jang Hyun only smile, relieved, because of course it was never going to be that absurd. It seems that after the heart of the Lord fused into his chest, some quiet change took hold, and it stopped being a mere item and became something closer to an organ of his, which is why the attributes it grants get counted at all. However it works, every bit of it is pure profit. An extra boost dropped in his lap, and Jang Hyun takes the result gladly. After training and settling a while longer in the gravity room, his strength and spirit calmed a little. Jang Hyun finally step out, fully adapting to the change. Will still eat plenty of time, but there is far too much to do right now, and Wang Han will have results soon that lift his strength again and demand yet more adjustment. Better to handle business first, steal a little leisure, and settle into the new power properly afterward. Jang Hyun moves fast toward the region's core, and soon Jang Hyun reaches the top of the wizard tower and goes straight to the map. The vortex in his area has begun to spin. Its suction alive and black islands all across the region are being dragged toward it at speed. One island sitting very close to the vortex is pulled straight in, and in a single instant, the white light spot marking it vanishes from the map. Every watching chief in the region feels their heart clench at that, and his own eyelid twitches as Jang Hyun falls into thought. His black island runs 7 units in size, a 30% sailing bonus, plus level 3 supersonic sailing for another 30%, 60% faster in total. If a starting island's base sailing speed is 10 points, his speed sits at 16. And since Jang Hyun is currently sailing toward the vortex, the light spot's movement on the map reads closer to 18. That means a level 1 vortex adds 2 points of pull. No threat to him, and no real threat to most chiefs yet. Jang Hyun only wonder how vicious the suction turns as the vortex ranks up. The white spots drifting helplessly toward the vortex are the islands that have not decided a chief and so cannot steer. Their lords may be strong, but stalled by circumstance, several evenly matched, or a few too good at hiding for the island to unify. But with the vortex bearing down, any lord who does not want to die together with the rest will strike a deal and produce a chief fast, which makes this the golden age for masterless islands to settle their leadership. And even as Jang Hyun thinks it, the very target Jang Hyun picked, drifting slowly toward the vortex a moment ago, suddenly reverses, fighting the suction, sailing hard the other way. Jang Hyun starts, then smile, speak of the devil. The target chose its chief at this exact moment. The island just settled its chief, and is still a newborn thing of starting size, carrying only level 1 supersonic sailing for a 10% bonus, 11 points of speed, and fleeing against the suction. It crawls at a pitiful 9. His riding the pole hits 18, exactly twice its speed. It senses his island bearing down and throws itself sideways, but there is no escaping him. And it can only watch as Jang Hyun closes with unreasonable speed until the two islands touch, because it fled outward, roughly toward him. They met in a mutual rush, and Jang Hyun arrives at his target sooner than Jang Hyun ever planned. Looking at his island, 7 times its size and twice its speed, the newborn chief's face collapses into despair, all will to resist gone. He curses that he finally became chief, and before the seat even warmed. Before an hour passed, a big shot targeted him, and rather than struggle, he decides it is better to give up early and surrender. When his army lands, it meets not a single trace of resistance, only a sea of waving white flags, the chief choosing to become his vassal, his island folding into his, from landing to conquest. Less than half an hour, most of that spent traveling, and his black island climbs to 8 units, its sailing speed rising another 5%. Every Lord Jang Hyun ever faced fought him hard, not because they were strong, but because they could not bear to lose the power they bled for. So this is the first time a chief has surrendered so cleanly for a beat. Jang Hyun does not react. Then Jang Hyun checks the map and it clicks, and Jang Hyun smiles. At 8 units, his white spot has swollen 8 times over, genuinely imposing. And apart from the chiefs truly obsessed with power, most will now flee at the mere sight of him, which saves him effort and lets him breathe. Word travels on the World Channel, and more than one fleeing chief now trades the name Jang Hyun with a weary edge. Jang Hyun does not linger. The instant the island merges, Jang Hyun picks the nearest one and sail. The new vassal goes to Takmongyel as always, and with his territory and vassal swelling, so has his pool of talent, his team grown large, and after so many rounds of folding and surrendered soldiers, so practiced that it needs no worry for him. So while Jang Hyun closes on the next island, Jang Hyun strides confidently back to the gravity room to keep adapting to his new strength. The suction is only 2 points of speed for now, so the impact is small. The whole Dark World chat has already spread how lethal the instances are, so few people will risk one just to dodge the vortex, which means the instances should not level up fast. And Jang Hyun needs not fear a high-level instance yet. But one thing has been gnawing at him the whole way. An orange instance sits right on the vortex's edge, the icon's rim actually covering half of the orange light spot. Later, when islands get dragged toward the vortex and desperate not to be swallowed, drift toward that orange instance. What then if it were a red instance? It would be fine, but an orange instance is unlikely to meet a chief with the power to clear it. And if a clear fails, a high-level instance could be born. The more Jang Hyun turns it over, the more likely it feels. Jang Hyun did consider clearing it himself while it was still orange, but it sits absurdly far from his island, and detouring there would gut his development pace. and it hugs the vortex that swallows islands at will. So rushing in blind could invite anything. Jang Hyun can already become the region's top power by developing steadily. So why gamble? The answer is simple. Jang Hyun devours islands fast enough that none get dragged in to feed the instance's level. Because if a high-level instance shows up carrying new traits, it could threaten him badly. Decision made. Jang Hyun looks up and finds himself already outside the gravity room, and Jang Hyun steps through the door. While Jang Hyun lifts weights, Jang Hyun has several century ants take turns playing an alloy guitar into noise, practicing his death heavy metal and honing his spirit. And in under half an hour, his face is pale and Jang Hyun is soaked through, just as Jang Hyun sits panting on the floor. Slowly recovering, the communication ant stirs. Who wants him now? Jang Hyun forces the connection open, and the ant carries through a flat, faintly indifferent voice. Wang Han tells him the Black Dragon gene has been extracted successfully with no harm to the Dragon Scale Cloak's attributes. Wang Han had successfully extracted the legendary Black Dragon gene without damaging any of the cloak's combat effects. Jang Hyun cut the connection, spread his golden healing wings, and flew toward the biological laboratory immediately. The wings carried him effortlessly, while continuous healing light restored the exhaustion left by his breakthrough training, mending his worn body and mind, which is enormously convenient. In under 3 minutes, Jang Hyun reaches the biological laboratory in the first underground city building, pushed the door, and hurried to his desk. Jang Hyun fires questions before Jang Hyun even reach him, asking how many black dragon scales he separated in all, how many queens they can push through, and what condition the cloak is in now. Wang Han nudges his glasses up, a little helpless, and tells him not to be anxious, that he will answer one by one. He pulls open a drawer and sets 2 white boxes in front of him, and inside the first is a heap of black scales, throwing off blue-purple light, while the second holds 2 test tubes of pale yellow fluid. He tells him these are 23 scales removed from the cloak, and that even after the gene fragments were extracted, the leftover scales remain valuable rare material. 23 scales, Jang Hyun says. Surprised he pulled so many, his eyes sliding to the tubes as Jang Hyun asks whether that means 23 legendary Black Dragon gene fragments came out. He shakes his head, lifts a tube, and sets it before him. And when Jang Hyun looks close, Jang Hyun sees only one tiny black shard suspended in the pale yellow liquid. And Jang Hyun frowns, asking whether this is really just one fragment. He nods and says lightly that yes, from 23 scales, only 2 Black Dragon gene fragments came out in total because most of the scales held none of the properties a fragment could be drawn from. Jang Hyun sighs. Only 2 fragments, so only 2 queens can have their growth potential lifted to diamond rank. He answers that for now, that is how it stands. Unless Jang Hyun lets him keep dismantling the cloak, hundreds of scales remain on it, and stripping them all would surely yield enough fragments for every queen, though the cloak would just as surely drop in rank, its effects weakening or dying entirely. Jang Hyun thinks a moment, then shake his head and tell him to leave it. That 2 are enough for now. The cloak's effects are far too strong to throw away lightly, as if he already knew his answer. Wang Han shows no disappointment, only nods and asks which 2 queens should take the fragments. Jang Hyun does not overthink it, and smile. Moal uses one first because the black scythe hunting ants she raises have always been a pillar of his combat strength, so she has to be the first to diamond rank, and the second goes to Mars, Rock Spirit. The healing ants in Leisure Cloud are all mainly functional, but this is a period of enormous upheaval, and Jang Hyun needs his raw combat power maxed right now with black scythe, hunting ants breaking lines, and self-destruct ants handling the powerful enemies. Once Moal and Mars reach diamond rank, and Jang Hyun stockpiles another wave of diamond rank, black scythe, hunting ants, and self-destruct ants. Jang Hyun will be an untouchable existence at this stage. The thought of himself sweeping thousands with a diamond rank and army clenches his fists in excitement. Wang Han nods briskly, sweeps the 2 boxes off the table and strides for the door, telling him he will go fuse the fragments with Mo and Mars. Now Jang Hyun stops him to ask where his dragon scale cloak is, and his voice drifts back that it is in the cabinet under his desk, his steps never breaking as he vanishes from the office, so urgent, bewildered by how fast he fled. Jang Hyun opens the cabinet he named, and the cloak is indeed inside. Jang Hyun pulls it out, nodding at first that his technique is fine, that removing 23 scales barely touched the attributes, only the 3 points of charm gone. Charm. Jang Hyun goes still, and only then look at the very end of the cloak where the smooth, flat hem has been picked down to a bare bald stub, nothing left but the silk lining tattered like a beggar's torn coat. When he swore there would be no impact, he meant the attributes, not the look, and the look is ruined. Jang Hyun roars his name toward the empty lab, his voice thick with fury. Wang Han, already gone, hears the commotion, even through the door, pushes his glasses up with a small smile playing on his lips, and keeps walking toward the ant nest without slowing a step. Back in the top-floor office, Jang Hyun sinks into the boss chair with a helpless grin. That Wang Han. No wonder he ran so fast, since he turned his handsome cloak into a beggar's rag. Never mind. Jang Hyun will find a senior tailor in the territory to patch it with matching chips, and as long as the attributes hold, it is a small problem. Through the Ant Mutual Aid contract, Jang Hyun can feel it clearly now. Mo and Mars' life strength surging all at once, already past the diamond rank threshold, truly diamond rank creatures, feeling the two of them. Jang Hyun smiles satisfied and marvel that jumping from platinum to diamond raised their life strength at least 5-fold, and this is only the raw breakthrough. Once they stabilize and accumulate toward the diamond peak, they could hit 10 times their platinum strength, 10 times the platinum peak itself. When ants crossed from gold to platinum, the gap was fold, too, but that was only 10 times gold, and Jang Hyun honestly never expected that at a height like platinum. The lead to diamond would still multiply their power 10 times over. It is terrifying. His expression soars, and Jang Hyun draws a deep breath. It is a good thing the leader of the Orange Instance Corps has not reached diamond rank, because even if Jang Hyun scraped out a win against a diamond leader, the price would be enormous, maybe rich to ruined overnight. After watching the ants clear 2 breakthroughs, gold to platinum and platinum to diamond, Jang Hyun catches a pattern, take out pen and paper, and start sketching. If the growth rate holds constant, a legendary rank creature 10 times a diamond, and a mythical rank creature 10 times a legendary. Jang Hyun does not know whether the trend stays this clean or whether higher ranks bolt on extra abilities, but Jang Hyun can use it to estimate the combat power of higher creatures, and to be safe. Jang Hyun should set his expectations high. Jang Hyun will wait for more from Bak Han and Xiongha since legendary and mythical ranks sound so far beyond the ordinary that they may not answer to common sense at all. After Mo and Mars broke through, Jang Hyun ordered them to breed ants fast. So, by now, they should have diamond-grade black scythe hunting ants and self-destruct ants ready. And Jang Hyun wants to see what the legendary gene did once it settled into diamond rank. Jang Hyun leaves the office and reaches the ant nest. And the moment Jang Hyun walks into Mo's chamber, his attention snaps to a giant creature before him, a gigantic holy black monster. Its shape still roughly a black scythe hunting ant, but its body has stretched to a terrifying 8 meters long. And with its 3 meters height, no one would believe it is an ant at all. Across its back carapace lies a layer of jet black scales, only palm-sized, far larger than the egg-sized originals. Jang Hyun honestly do not know which part of the black dragon these came from. So small when a normal black dragon scale would be the size of a wash basin. Jang Hyun sighs and read the diamond grade black. Scythe hunting ants. Information and find, it has gained a new ability. Dragon scale armor, which greatly raises its base defense and grants an added 30% elemental immunity and 30% physical defense. The description is dead simple. The effect monstrous. On top of the base defense, it is 30% elemental immunity and 30% physical defense, which reads is roughly 30% overall defense, and that is percentage defense. So, stacked on a black scythe, hunting ants already high base. Its toughness turns absurd. The new ability truly does not disappoint. Then a thought strikes. Can Jang Hyun not fix this ability onto himself through the heart of the Lord? After reaching platinum, Jang Hyun can pin 4 mutual aid ant abilities. And Jang Hyun had set attack aura, intermediate agility, and intermediate scouting, planning an intermediate strength or intermediate carapace for the last. Now that a better option exists, Jang Hyun does not hesitate, and Jang Hyun adds dragon scale key armor to himself. His whole body prickles as if ants are crawling over him, and after about 10 minutes, Jang Hyun finds black scales grown across his skin, identical to black dragon scales, but smaller, only fingernail-sized. They stop clean at his neck, sparing his face and skip his palms while sheathing the backs of his hands. Jang Hyun presses a silver-ranked dagger to them and lean into it, but even when his muscles ache from pushing, Jang Hyun cannot break through, as expected of an ability off a legendary creature. The defense is astonishing, though the scales feel stiff and awkward. Fine for battle. Inconvenient for daily life. Jang Hyun wonders whether they can be hidden, and after careful poking, Jang Hyun finds the trick. Eyes closed, Jang Hyun sheath his whole body in spiritual power and will the scales to withdraw. And the next second, the jet black scales sink under his skin, his appearance fully restored, no different to the touch, as if they were never there. But Jang Hyun knows it is only surface that the instant his body is struck, they will snap out on their own to guard him. Good. Far more comfortable this way. Jang Hyun tells Moal to keep it up and breed. More diamond-grade black scythe hunting ants stroke her small head and head for Mars's chamber. The moment Jang Hyun steps in, his eyes lock onto the diamond-grade self-destruct ant. Its look simply too outstanding, wildly out of place beside the ordinary self-destruct ants around it. Once the size of a basketball, it has swollen to the span of a person's arms more than 10 times over. Like the black scythe hunting, and it is sheathed head to foot in black dragon scales, a heavily armored thing of astonishing defense. Nothing like a creature whose whole racial faith is explosion, ready to blow at the slightest provocation. It is all deception and concealment. Now reading it, Jang Hyun finds its new ability, Dragon Scale Shrapnel, which cloaks the whole body in dragon scales to greatly raise defense, and during an explosion, ejects that shrapnel. The scales so hard and sharp that the wounds they carve inflict corrosive damage on top. Powerful. No more need be said. A self-destruct ant's whole point is to explode and die, so on the surface, more defense looks pointless, but in truth, they dread being struck and detonating early before they reach their mark. And dragon scale shrapnel erases that worry entirely, while the shrapnel the blast throws adds heavy extra damage. Besides, this one though is not suited to fixing onto himself. Jang Hyun finishes reading, nod, satisfied, and look at Mars, telling her to cultivate her ants with everything she has, that Jang Hyun will keep her resources fully supplied. She answers eagerly that she will diligently raise more of her kin and strive to create magnificent explosions. Jang Hyun smiles, pat her small head, and leave the chamber. Half a day later, his black island is nearly closed on the next target. And what jars him is that all 6 surrounding islands have started moving. Not away from him, but closer. And even the target Jang Hyun is approaching is doing the same. 6 black islands plus the target ahead makes 7. Only 2 of them run 2 units. The rest 1 unit, starting islands that have devoured nothing. So their strength is average at best, arguably weak, but with so many gathered close to him. They will likely border his island, one after another, inside a narrow window. And united, they can still hand him real trouble. Jang Hyun frowns at the map. Moal and Mars only just reached diamond rank and have not stockpiled troops, and Jang Hyun burned through plenty of his army in the orange instance and against the aggregated monsters. So all told, his edge right now is not overwhelming if these 7 chiefs truly cling to the notion that when the lips are gone, the teeth go cold and unite to resist him. It would genuinely be a headache. The odds of that feel high, since his island looks far too massive on the map and outruns most of the neighbors. If they scattered, a handful might slip his pursuit, but the vast majority would still be run down and eaten, which makes charging him together the sensible play. One thing baffles him, though: how did this many people coordinate and link up at all? Is there some item for it? Or did they simply see one island charge him, and reasoning through the lips and teeth logic all pile in after? That would be a bit too rational. And something about it feels off. Jang Hyun cannot crack it. So Jang Hyun shakes it off and stops chewing on it. Jang Hyun does not change course for being targeted by a full 7 chiefs, and hold to his original plan, driving toward the target island. 7 black islands, 2 of them 2 units. And if Jang Hyun can swallow them all in one sweep, his island jumps 9 units at once. An opportunity there is no reason to pass up at this stage, even besieged by 7 average chiefs. The worst of it is inconvenience, not real danger. His mind eases and Jang Hyun goes to the ant nest to count troops and prepare for the string of battles ahead. Jang Hyun tells Swift Shadow to deploy the army straight to the southeast, the direction about to border the target. And the instant the 2 islands touch to drive the army forward at once, there will be a run of battles. Jang Hyun warns her, because 2 hours after they border the target, the next island borders them. So to avoid being hit from 2 sides, they must finish inside those 2 hours. And once the second island arrives, 5 more will land one after another within an hour, at which point they can only pull the troops home and hold for a defensive counterattack. The schedule is brutally dense, so she will have to push hard, and she answers that she guarantees the mission done. With Swift Shadow set, Jang Hyun picks the manual back up and turns to the glory page. His glory sits at level 5, a little over 36,000 of the 40,000 Jang Hyun needs. His island runs a full 8 units now, but most of that came from the orange instance rather than vassals. So, Jang Hyun is still nearly 4,000 vassals short of level 6. Still, devouring 1 more island and subduing its leader is enough to carry him to level 6, and conquering all 7 of these could even punch him straight to level 7. Jang Hyun puts the manual down, more eager than ever for what is coming. Minute by minute, the time runs down, and with his island and the target rushing toward each other, the border that should have taken nearly a day is cut to a little past half a day. On the map, the 2 dots, one large and one small, sit almost on top of each other, and his ant army under Swift Shadow is already masked at the southeastern border, where they will meet the target. Jang Hyun sits on the Wizard Tower's observation deck, sipping tea and watching it come rushing to border him, while cutting itself off from its main force is genuinely unwise. Jang Hyun muses, and thanks to the short distance and his sharp eyes, Jang Hyun can already read the situation on the target island in detail. His gaze narrows and confusion creeps in. What game is this chief playing? At the border stands a single youth in black sportswear, unarmed, alone. If he wanted a real battle, he would have massed troops at the border the way Jang Hyun did. And if he wanted to stall, he would have hardened his defenses and cleared the field. So what does one lone man at the edge even mean? Puzzled, Jang Hyun lets it go since the islands will border soon, and the riddle will answer itself. 10 more minutes, and the two islands finally interlock. Instantly, his ant army pours across under Swift Shadow's command, reaching the youth and black sportswear in a blink and ringing him in completely. Surrounded by so many huge, ferocious ants, his whole body shakes uncontrollably, yet he manages not to kneel, raising both hands and forcing a smile as he stammers that he means no harm, that he surrenders. Watching through the ant's eyes, Jang Hyun has the nearest one demand his identity and his purpose. Seeing that the giant monster before him can speak human words, his eyes flash real surprise. But he steadies because as long as talk is possible, the trouble cannot be too deep. He draws a breath and says over and over that he is the chief of this black island, that he came here alone to show his sincerity, that he is here to surrender. Chief, surrender. Jang Hyun is mildly stunned. Jang Hyun braces for a string of major battles, and the very first enemy hands him a gift instead. Even so, Jang Hyun is not fully convinced. This is a Black Island chief, someone who endured untold hardship to rise above 10,000 and take the seat, and to hurl himself into danger and hand over that hard-won power so easily seems too good. Maybe a trick. The youth in black sportswear watches the ants ringing him with murderous eyes and goes silent a while, and knowing his own act has bred suspicion. He panics and hurries to explain. He insists he truly is this island's chief, that he could apply to become his vassal this instant. Face gone, mournful. He argues that being marked by someone as strong as him means he will be swallowed sooner or later, a matter of 2 hours one way or the other. He asks why he should fret over 2 extra hours when surrendering early makes him look sensible, even pragmatic, and trusts Jang Hyun would not make things hard for him. Hearing him out, Jang Hyun already believe half of it. Understanding dawning, Jang Hyun has been misreading these weaker chiefs the whole time, measuring them by his own mind and assuming they would all fight to the death, when it turns out they have other ways to live. Jang Hyun accepts his surrender readily, and rather than scorn him for weakness, Jang Hyun values the pragmatism because subduing an enemy without a fight saves time, saves effort, and spares his troops. So why refuse Jang Hyun is no warmonger who has to conquer with his own hands. As long as the outcome is the same, Jang Hyun does not care how it arrives. Soon, Jang Hyun takes the youth's allegiance, and as he becomes his vassal, his thousands of vassals convert to his. The island fully his now, and beginning its slow merge into his Black Island, counting it out from the moment the two islands bordered to the finish. Less than 10 minutes total, a new record for his fastest conquest. Jang Hyun tells him through the frontline ants that Jang Hyun will find someone to settle him and his former vassals properly, that he needs not worry that Jang Hyun likes clever people, and will hand him a fitting post. He lets out a long breath, his taut nerves easing, and shows a faint smile as he thanks him. Jang Hyun turns his attention off him and messaged Tak Mongyel to arrange everything. Then Jang Hyun looks at the regional map again, at the 6 Black Islands still racing toward him, and Jang Hyun relaxes considerably. The youth in black sportswear set an example that taught him something new. Not everyone wants to fight him to the death, and for these weaker chiefs, the odds of surrender actually run higher. So if even 2 or 3 of the 6 come to him, meaning to yield, Jang Hyun will feel no pressure at all. Jang Hyun still deploy, as if all 6 mean to strike at once, and only then let himself ease. Jang Hyun picks the manual back up and turned to the glory page. Jang Hyun just subjugated another few thousand vassals, more than enough for level 6. His glory now reading past 40,000, up near 43,000, against the 40,000 Jang Hyun needed. It is indeed enough, and joy lights his face as Jang Hyun lets out a long breath, because heaven only knows how long Jang Hyun has waited for this upgrade. Jang Hyun does not hesitate and choose to advance. And the system confirms the progress. Full glory raise to level 6. Jang Hyun does not check the new level 6 functions first. Instead, Jang Hyun looks at what level 7 demands, and the readout tells him level 6. Glory now needs a full 100,000 progress. 100,000. No small number, and Jang Hyun frowns, his gaze sweeping into the distance, as Jang Hyun hopes the 6 islands coming next can help him gather it. Then, Jang Hyun reads the level 6 glory information itself. The first function lets him and his summoned creatures and pets ignore the black mist for a stretch each day. The duration climbing with glory level. The second lets him name 2 occupied shelters as subbases and teleport between the main shelter and them. The third is a popularity value that boosts every attribute of him and his vassals. Summons and pets tied to the number. Quality and satisfaction of the subjects in his territory currently sitting at 81 and lifting all attributes by 15%. And the fourth is deterrence, which triggers when Jang Hyun fights a black island smaller in area than his, cowing it and cutting its unit's attributes. The reduction growing with the size gap, 1% shaved off for every 10% of area difference. Of the first 3, only the first change with level 6. Its black mist immunity rising 2 hours to 6 a day, and paired with the amplification item Bon gave him, his daily immunity reaches 9 hours. That is far from useless, since if Jang Hyun clashes with another chief at night, whoever holds the longer black mist, immunity carries a massive edge. Once the eternal night ends, there will be 8 hours of daylight and 16 of a night. And if his glory climbs further, the right item, stack it on top, should let him cover the black mist entirely. Jang Hyun smiles, then turned to the newly unlocked 4th function, deterrence. It can actually cow any black island smaller than his, gutting its attributes. And the wider the area gap, the deeper the cut. 1% per 10% of difference sounds slight, but a careful read reveals the teeth in it. After swallowing that island, his area stands at 9 units, and against the starting island of 1 unit. The gap is 8 units, 8 times its size, 800%, which weakens all of its attributes by a full 80%. His empire was already stronger, and deterrence ensured that every smaller island entered battle with its power brutally reduced. 4 incoming islands were only 1 unit large, allowing deterrence to strip away 80% of their attributes. The 2 larger islands still lost 35%, leaving every challenger weakened before the ant army even attacked. Jang Hyun watched all 6 islands approach with a relaxed smile, knowing resistance had become their worst possible decision. With diamond ant queens multiplying behind him, Jang Hyun no longer waited for surrender. His empire had already won.